Hello, everybody. If anybody's here, we're back.
Back
Oh,
again.
it says 0 on the eye, but it sometimes takes a while for people to show up. So,
Well, it's probably my fault because we're a bit late.
yeah, they've all disappeared, Mark.
That's it. There's probably like 170 odd people there waiting,
At 3 now. I better do
now
that correctly.
and they decided. Well, the Czechs when they do 3, they go like this.
Oh, okay.
It's always confusing because I order stuff and I'm like, oh, can I have 3? And I think they see 2, and I should go 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't know how to do that. When I do with the kids, I'm like 3. The kids are like their fingers haven't formed properly to be able to do that, so they are always like pushing their fingers together to do it at school because they're not used to doing what we
I
do.
always want to go when I always do, like, I want 2. That's 2. What are you talking about?
Well, it's only really in Britain that it means anything. Maybe Australia, I don't know, but
Well, I think Italians do it too. I think isn't there
Canadians.
Italian?
Oh, Italian. I don't know. Do Canadians use it, or you just read between the lines?
Well, I think that means something. Like, usually it means up yours.
Yeah.
So
They always say, I never know if it's true or not, but they always say it comes from the 100 Years' War, where they used to cut off the fingers of English archers, and it was like, look at me, I got my fingers. So,
oh yeah, I think I've heard that. Yeah, I'm not sure if
it's apocryphal.
You hear a lot of myths about stuff. It's like in my video there, I was trying to find that quote, which I think is a real quote of that was found an inscription in ancient Rome saying how bad young people are, and the youth of today in that, and I wanted to quote that, but I couldn't find it, and
maybe you dreamt it, or maybe it's a quote. It's a quotation that you can attribute to yourself, and just be extra intelligent by putting it in Latin. So.
Yeah, well, no, but when I did find stuff, I did find a lot of things that were that were attributed to ancient Rome, and they're not real. So, hello, having tea, having your tea. This is your afternoon soap opera.
Tea and scones.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit late for tea and scones. It is. Oh, you mean tea like dinner?
Yeah. Well, what time is it traditionally in England? It's 6, isn't it? That people have
dinner or afternoon tea?
Afternoon tea. Oh no,
afternoon
dinner.
Tea, I think it's 3 o'clock, isn't it? 3, half past 3, 4.
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those videos are. It's really funny. As I was saying to Mark, that it seemed, and I think I put it in some of the comments. It seems that it doesn't matter what the contents of the video are. If you name it something, that is going to be the interpretation that some people will take, regardless if they watch it or not. They'll just interpret that.
Well, it's like my labeling the video I did on the dead white guys, dead white dudes.
Oh, the
problem with, and people assumed that it was. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
And people assumed, that I had a problem with them, so they were getting ready to rant on that side, and instead, it was. It was
good that they interpreted it the other way. There's been a little more traffic, or at least comments, than usual, and it's just sort of an experiment. But it is things that I just, because I'm not reading much, and I just thought, well, how am I going to put out a booktube sort of related thing, and actually talk about books? And this is a way to talk about books. And it has generated a lot of discussion. Some people, as I say, are misinterpreting it, but I think most are sort of, once they listen to it, they go, aha, okay,
I think the key there is listening. I mean, a lot of people, they're quite trigger happy on the comments without, necessarily listening through the whole argument or the whole point of what someone's trying to say. But I think it's if you want increased traffic, it's the way forward, isn't it? The controversial things is what people like. They like to click on things. They want to get involved in some form of discussion / argument.
Well, that's the thing. Like you've done your favorite authors. Like I'm sure, Summer had pointed out that she wants to see me, and I sort of realized, I haven't done my favorite authors yet. I've said I've done my detested authors in a sense, quotation marks. But I'm sort of doing, but the thing is, like even that it can be controversial because somebody say, oh well, they're not a great author, and things like that. So it's a situation where damned if you do and damned if you don't. Exactly. Yeah, people do like drama, no matter what's said. I'm almost tempted. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this one. It won't be my favorite authors. It would be the damn best authors in the world or something like that. Period.
Yeah. The only authors worth reading.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Just look at the vast amount of traffic that. Yeah. Well, I don't think we don't really want to get into that too much because I think that comes under how you say things. Like I was trying to explain in today's video. There's it's not so much sometimes what you say,
it's how you say
it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you can call somebody an idiot, but if you do it nicely,
Sean, you're such a lovely idiot. Yeah, I think that's right, Gerald. I think it's one of those things people want to move on, but I get the feeling this kind of thing probably flares up from time to time. I mean, I'm fairly new to all the booktube. I've only been on a year, and I do get the feeling that I think even Sean, you said that things controversy is never far away. It does come around from time to time. So
well, I like
because we are just normal people, right? We are just normal people who are out doing our jobs. We're not. And we are prone maybe to making mistakes every now and again and saying things perhaps we shouldn't or regret or in the heat of the moment. I think it's interesting that Matt said, it must be the heat. Matt said in his live yesterday, I just caught a little bit of it on the replay, that he's now, testing out the whole 24-hour breather thing. So instead of reacting immediately by making a video, and then he said it was interesting, because he wanted to make a video to go against somebody's point and call them out on it. And then he said he slept on it, and then by the next day he wasn't bothered by it anymore and didn't do it. So
yeah, well, that's the thing, and I sort of think that sometimes there's too much seriousness. It's like Michael Palin had said several times, you have to be silly. You have to be silly at times, and that's what I do. Like I've got those little things of the absolute, or what do I call it? What do I call it? I can't even remember now. The 1 minute things. What do I call it? Damn, help me out, Mark.
Sorry, I was reading Gerald's. What's it? What are you talking about? 1 minute. The short. Shorts or?
Yeah, no, not the shorts, but the responses. Definitive, whatever I call it.
Definitive guides. Yeah.
Definitive guides. Like, they're obviously, way over the top. And it's like, I'm not sure if I wanted to say in the video, like Blackadder, like Blackadder says something so absurd, about, like we should have just stayed at home and killed 10,000 of our own men to make it easier. Yeah. It's an absurd statement, but you do have to be absurd at times, I think.
I think that's true.
Yeah. And last, like I say, Gerald, I will do this, immediate sort of joking response, like obviously it's over the top, but yeah, because I think sometimes people just take things a little too seriously, and you know, that's why I used the word detested author, and rightly so. It's been pointed out that, you know, somebody would only use that author if they were sort of a reprehensible person and stuff like that. And that's why I used it, because it was a bit, you know, cheeky to be clickbaiting a little bit, but I thought it was, you know, I thought it was sort of fun because people might you know, get to know my style. The idea of leaving time between reactions is so relevant to the issue I have with, yeah, each in the chat room, small things get escalated and go on forever. Yeah, yeah, that can happen, and they don't need to be young and students either. You know?
No. Hi, Gareth. Nice to see you.
Yeah. There'll be.
Sorry, I just want to say I just watched Gareth's camping vlog, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Gareth, it was great fun.
Oh, I haven't watched that yet. I'm
yeah. Are they? Maybe I missed it. Are they some of your bandmates that you're out with? Or?
And while you're typing,
really good. He's camping in Wales, North Wales, near Aberystwyth, the small village of Aberystwyth.
Oh, is that where Life of Brian was banned for all the time until the actress became mayor and did a premiere and rescinded it? I think it was. Right? I think so. But Gareth, watch tomorrow, 12 noon. There'll be a video that you're gonna like. The sound in that and video is not the greatest, but you'll enjoy the content, I'm sure.
Yeah,
and that's all
nice
I'm gonna say. The main way I talked to Richie is the guy formed of.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's just nice to see, you know, a couple of guys or three guys out there having fun in the woods and, you know, walking around. I enjoyed it. So.
Well, you're gonna have to. No, it's not a Python thing. I'm not saying anything more. Just it'll be up at 12 noon. I was gonna do it at 5, but it'll be up at 12 noon.
Oh, you changed it.
Yeah, I changed it. I was just talking to Mark. I didn't actually see your video, Gareth, or even notice it. So thanks for bringing that. But I was just talking about. I keep getting videos suggested to me. They're stealth camping. It's like this one guy camps on a roundabout. He's got like over 1 million followers and 4 million views for this thing. It's 4 months old, and it's like, that's what you're doing wrong, Gareth. Go out with your buddies and film it in a roundabout in a busy city.
It's interesting though. It would be interesting to see what other places he goes to stealth camp in though.
I don't know. I think he does. Like there was another one that he did it by a busy road or something like that. It's just that like I think people do this all over the place. Oh, is that what? Yeah, I think there's several of them. It's just weird. It's like I never would have thought that would be something that would be viral, because literally 4 million views in 4 months has to be viral, you know? Yeah, on a roundabout. And I don't know, I can't remember what city it was. I think it was actually in Canada or the US. I thought it was in the UK, but he's obviously not at UK. And then another one, he was in BC.
Probably it's probably Canada mostly, because I mean only Canadians are crazy enough to sleep out anywhere and do weird things. So,
well, there's other ones that people go out and sort of, you know, go camping in the middle of winter. Yeah, that must be the same one. Yeah, that must be the same one.
Of course, he's Canadian. They all are. They're all these weirdos are Canadians.
Yeah, I did put that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting the kind of stuff that YouTube suggests to you, but I do get frustrated when it's like you watch something once and then they bombard you with it.
Yeah,
it's like maybe it was to do with Man Who Would Be King. I can't remember, but there's a video I watched. I think it was only even yesterday, and it had Michael Caine in it. And now every time, you know, in the only 24-hour period, every time I'm looking on YouTube, it's Michael Caine, and it's like, oh, you know.
I think detested was a fun way of putting it. It was different from a lot of other disliked author videos. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like it's clickbait, but a little different than clickbait, I guess, because clickbait usually just has nothing whatever to do, and it's not even an ironic thing to get you there. It's usually something like, look at these weird pictures of beautiful women, or something like that, you know.
No, the
Something.
best is like this is this is 75-year-old so and so. Look how she looks now in a bikini, and it's like I kind of want to look, but I know I'm not going to get what I'm expecting.
You couldn't stealth camp like that in the U.S. You'd get shot. Yeah, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, yeah, especially in Texas, I'm sure. That's where I think that's where you are, Brian, isn't it, Texas? So yeah, I remember going to a book sale in Oklahoma, and I walked into a bank to exchange some Canadian money for American. I had cash,
And they
and there
laughed
was
at you.
what? No. It was like, you know, those signs or little stickers with their circle with a line through it for smoking.
Right.
And there was a sticker on the door like that that had a gun in it with a line through it. And I'm going, you have to tell people here to not bring a gun into a bank?
We have that here.
Really? I haven't.
Although, actually, I mean, the strange thing is, I think the Czechs do have the highest gun ownership in the EU, at least. I don't really know the reason for it. I mean, hunting is definitely a big thing, but yeah, you go to the post office. I'll take a photo. I'll send it to you tomorrow. They have the same thing, and even some of the nightclubs in town have the same thing as well. There's the gun with the line through it. So
Yeah, I find it bizarre that you have to actually tell people that.
well, the funny is in the UK. I don't think I've seen it anywhere else. When you go to some banks or whatever, it has the man with the motorcycle helmet on with the line through it.
Oh, I haven't noticed that.
Because they don't want you walking into the bank with a helmet on, because it looks like you might be going to rob it. So you have to remove it.
Oh, so what they did with the mask then?
Must have been pretty difficult, right?
Book songs. Well, Gareth. Yeah, I get frustrated where you see something about an issue and the suggestions are full of that one issue, and it was just yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure, Gareth. I wonder what that is an issue. I was just curious.
I thought the author's video was hilarious because you were repeatedly knocking down the big names, and I was just laughing loads. Yeah, well, let's see. The thing is, it's like all but actually one of those authors I've read 30 plus years ago, more or less 25, 30 years ago or more. Hemingway, I think, is the only one that I read recently or reread recently. And it was his style of writing that really hit me that this is why I didn't like it. And I couldn't quite remember why I didn't like him before. But then when I read, I think it was Farewell to Arms. And it was the repetition of the dialogue that really bugged me. And I just thought that was sloppy writing. But that is what a lot of people like about his writing in a lot of ways. And so I don't know. But I was talking to Mark because I do want to read his I forget what it's called, his memoir in Paris during the 20s. And then there's one that he did about Africa, on safari in Africa, I want to read. But then like it was too much to say in that video. And I also remember reading the short story collection Snows of Kilimanjaro and Other Stories. And I always remembered enjoying the Snows of Kilimanjaro. And I'm not sure if it's because the film with Gregory Peck, or it was the story, and I want to reread that again. But again, it was just too much sometimes to put everything in a video. So yeah, you are in taxes. Yeah, I just find just going back to those gun signs. It is. But yeah, it is weird. But then again. Well, no, I don't know whether I should say this. It's like it's almost like, you know, if Donald Trump gets in again, I think if I was in the U.S., as much as I hate guns, I think I'd want to have one. That's all I'm going to say. Hemingway fan. What I like about the repetition is that is like real life people repeating things and add and subtract things. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, and but then so like yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Like I just did there. Um, but sometimes I don't like. Sometimes I think like well, I'm trying to think of the documentary style that's really sort of or filmmaking that looks like a documentary that you just turn on a film and it looks fake because you're so used to the cinematic experience of how things are. But when you turn a camera on and you do that documentary style, it doesn't look right, and it could be because I'm so used to the style.
Yeah.
We lost Mark here. He's
No. I was looking. I'm actually looking for something to show you. So I am listening because I think it's a little bit interesting, but I don't know if I can actually find it now. But I do think it is funny how some authors are considered like sacrosanct. It is like heresy to say anything negative about them. And I do wonder, like, how many people kind of trick themselves into thinking that these authors are great because they feel they should do, and they'll feel like they're not intelligent if they don't say that this author's great because pressure is on them to like them.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing because a lot of people say and like if I don't like this author, it's me. It's not the author.
Yeah,
and
it's not you. It's like a breakup, isn't it? It's not you. It's me. So
yeah. But the thing is, that could also go to some people who like an author because they may like them because of the hype, or as you said, Mark. So rather than reading it, I sometimes I like the word critical reading and critical thinking, but it's overused at times. But the thing is, if you do read, I think you've got to think about what you're reading. At times, if you want to, if you want to read a lot of stuff, but then you do want to read something like I want to read P.G. Wodehouse, and I don't want to think. I just want the candy.
Well, I think that's the thing when I put out my authors, especially the today's video. They are authors I don't have to think about. They're authors I can go to, and I know it doesn't matter what of their works I'm going to pick up, I'm going to enjoy it. And that means something to me because although I love reading in all its forms, sometimes reading, a particular classic has an element of work to it. Whereas, when I can pick up, I don't know, John le Carré or Patrick O'Brien or I don't know, Robert Harris, for example, that I mentioned, it's not for me. It's sheer escapism. It's lazy reading, but it's fun. And that's, it's the essence. It's what I love about reading. And sometimes I need it. And I find a lot of these authors will kind of kickstart me or pull me out of reading slumps, which is very important from time to time, I think.
Yeah, well, like you're talking about some authors, like I just somebody sent me this today. It came in the mail. I didn't even mention it because when I went downstairs earlier, it's another A.E. Van Vogt book, and you're talking about a bad writer. In many ways, he's a bad writer, like stylistic wise. But I just love his stuff. I really love his stuff. But when I'm reading it through at times, I just moan and go, "Oh, come on, really?" But I enjoy it. But he in some ways should be put down as a bad author. Simple. But I love him so much.
I found what I wanted to show you. It's a bit of a different thing. I don't know how clearly it will show up on here. Probably not. No.
Turn down the brightness. Turn down the brightness
on the phone. And then you got the glare.
Yeah.
You can probably just make it out.
Okay, is that then and now?
Yeah, and it's basically where I live, right? I live in this building here. In this building here. This is the window I showed you earlier that Elvis was barking out of. This is August 2020. That's August. In fact, yesterday. So 21st of August, 2020, 21st of August, 1968. And right outside my window is a line of Soviet tanks when the Russians invaded in 1968. And it's always something I just found fascinating because it's like, what, 12 years before I was born, probably? Yes, 12 years before I was born. And yet, in the place I'm living, which hasn't changed at all when you look at that photo, there's these bloody Russian tanks outside. And that's what I was thinking about the whole gun thing here, is it might have something to do with, of course, their recent history of occupation. So, yeah.
That's maybe what Elvis was barking at.
Might have been. Yeah, might have been. Yeah.
Let's get back.
Yes, this is very important, Sean. We must always highlight when anyone says the following sentence. I think you're right, Mark. Yes. Thank you.
You're cancelled.
Yeah. There's a culture around it. Critically acclaimed works will become cynically praised. I think that there's truth to that for sure. I do. And it takes a brave person to stand up and say, Jane Austen is detestable.
Well, Brian has just done that with Ursula K. Le Guin, because she's a huge, popular science fiction fantasy writer. I like her stuff, but there's a qualified likeness to it, because like a Earthsea trilogy is interesting, but there is, you're right. Like the way she writes, it's not smooth, I guess. I don't know. It's like, again, I'd have to revisit it. And then Brian asks, like, who is widely praised? Well, a lot of people, I suppose. But then again, if the academics because people are being torn down today, mainly for other things, not their writing usually. It's to do with personal lives. Like somebody said detested, and I said I could make maybe a list of authors as people that I detest, but I like their writing.
That would be fun. There's probably really detestable authors who write great stuff. I mean, Hemingway definitely has detestable characteristics about his personality, but you don't like him as an author anyway, so he doesn't count. But
but it has to be somebody who has not just one thing that's about them. I would think it'd have to be their whole person.
Well, I find in a similar vein that, for example, well-known people who I find out supported Brexit, for example, before I might have really liked them, but now I won't even watch them. Like which I should separate it, of course, but if it's like a well-known actor who I used to like, and I'm watching their film and I used to really enjoy it, and now I'm thinking, voted to leave, you put me in this mess. I can't bring myself to watch you. Or
actors, like you're talking about actors like John Wayne. I like John Wayne on screen, but I don't think I could ever get along with him. And I like James Stewart as well. He always played this everyman thing, but he would be a Trump. I think he would be a Trump supporter. He would be ultra right.
It's like, well, I quite liked Charlton Heston, but then you see, the enduring image of him is at the NRA, prizing it out of my cold dead hand, and you think, well, don't like you as much anymore.
And Gareth saying, I like Le Guin a lot, but it's all subjective. Yeah, well, which is why I'm cynical about critics' opinions.
Well, I don't know. It depends. I mean, I think the style isn't subjective, is it? Really? I mean, like the correctness or the way someone writes, whether they write in a correct way or not, isn't subjective. But the way you interpret it is.
And also, too, it's like if the person is set out to make a story and make it believable and have events, and you're reading along, and then all of a sudden it contradicts something that happens before. And that happens a lot in fiction as well. That I don't think is opinion-wise. I think whether or subjective, I think that can be a definite thing, that you can say that this person hasn't done what they've set out to do. Like A.E. Van Vogt. There's so many things like that in there that, but there's reasons why I think that has happened in his stories, because he's stapling together short stories that had no connection before. So he's forcing these connections that aren't going to work. So in many ways, that's bad writing. But even so, I still like it, you know. I like Page's fact. I think guns are to Americans what tea is to the British. And yes, Brian, yeah, that's the thing. And if I really liked Heming, that would be something that I would, because it has nothing to do with how he was in life that I dislike his style of writing. It really has nothing to do with that. But
it
yeah,
does help though. It does help, doesn't it? I mean,
well,
the fact
it reinforces
you detest him and he's a bastard makes it much easier to swallow. Whereas if you got someone who's probably quite sweet, like Jane Austen, and you say I detest her, it's a bit harder to sell, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing with Jane Austen. It's like, but again, like I said, I think I said repeated in there. I'd have to reread her stuff, but it's all I remember of her and the Brontes was like a glorified soap opera type thing, airhead people, and there was nothing else that I found interesting when I first read it. But again, like I said, that's I read George Orwell, a long time ago, and I detested, if I want to use that word, I did not like his writing for similar reasons, that there was nothing there redeeming it. But then I started reading other stuff and reading more, and I'm going, well, wait a minute, I still don't like 1984 or Animal Farm, but I like it better than I can understand why people do like it. But I still quantify or qualify why I kind of like it now, but I still don't. But it's the other stuff that I like so much. And I'm sure, if I reread, and I do want to reread Jane Austen and stuff, I just poke fun at it because it's sort of, and I hope people do realize it's fun. It's like, Brian, to your video there, how to read Jane Austen. Don't, that was my definitive guide.
Yeah.
Sorry, I need to do
know. It's but it is funny how they are like almost canonized.
Well, they are.
I wonder who's going to be the canonized authors of the future. It's going to be really funny if I don't know what's her name. Who's the one? Sally Rooney, for example, ends up 200 years from now being seen as like the pinnacle of literary achievement from the 21st century.
Or J.K. Rowling,
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, but the thing is, I like reading stuff from the 20s and 30s pulp stuff, and I can enjoy it. I don't think a lot of it's great writing, and there's a lot of booktubers like Michael K. Vaughan has pulp stuff too. He just said it in the video. But again, it's like 100 years from now, if I was living, I might find the Harry Potter books amazing, like fun to read. But I don't now. That's the thing.
But that is the thing, isn't it? I mean, there is that balance between fun and feeling like you're achieving something by having read the book. Like, honestly, really, a lot of classics, as I've just said it before, it does take a bit of work. You have to kind of push yourself a bit mentally. You have to take yourself out of your normal speak. Whereas, your go-to authors, the ones you can curl up with on the couch and with a hot chocolate and lose yourself for the afternoon and read from cover to cover easily. It's very different. I mean, as we're saying, we feel like we have to caveat what we say when we pick somebody who's like, popular rather than good. We apologize, don't we? It's like, well, they're not going to win any literary prizes, but I really love their stories. And at the end of the day, isn't that really the most important thing? For people to actually take pleasure. I mean, if you can do both, it's great. I mean, I was surprised how much pleasure I derived from reading Pride and Prejudice. It's a book I avoided for years, and I'm ashamed to say it. It was one I was it's chick lit. I'm not interested. It's this kind of thing. It's for girls. obviously I was wrong. I accept that. I apologize, whatever. But it just felt I didn't think it was a book that was going to speak to, a man in his 40s living in the 21st century. But I loved it. I thought it was great fun. And it was funny. That's what got me. How funny it was.
When did you read it? When did you read it?
The first time when I did it in July.
Yeah, and who said it was Gareth that's talking about the heat?
No, there you go then. Yeah, that's probably it. I lost my temporarily mad.
What's Gareth say? People surprise you though. I was shocked when I saw Charlton Heston on a chat show in the late 60s talking about race riots amongst James Baldwin, etc. Interesting.
Come on, Gareth. You're too young to have been watching that in the late 60s.
How many American authors from the 20th century were nice people? Good point. Good point. At some point, with dead authors, I separate author from the work. Yeah, I think you really do need to separate that. What's Elvis do? Oh, he's back at the window.
Yeah, he's back at the window. Some enemy walking past. Stop it! I'm busy. Apologies, everybody. Oh, apologies. I was telling you earlier, it's not that often, and it's not in the evening, but, Elvis, come here. Good boy.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know. Are there any nice ones? Surely there's some nice women.
Well, no, I think. Well, I see the popular ones are like we mentioned before, Norman Mailer. There's other ones. I just try to think now. The guy who wrote The World According to Garp. I don't like his fiction, but I like his nonfiction, his essays.
Yeah.
And J.D. Salinger. You're talking about weird people, but there's a lot. There's a lot, but these are high profile authors as well. So there must be other ones that
John Irving.
Yeah. There's got to be other ones that slip under the wire that aren't sort of that popular. That are, I think, just really and let's say they're getting to science fiction. Like that's the thing. Everybody's tearing down science fiction writers from the classic, from the golden age period. Asimov, Heinlein, John W. Campbell. But and I drone on, as people say, about Clifford Simak. But that's someone that, with all those problems of these other people, nobody holds up and says, the aqueduct, and by saying, well, what about Clifford Simak, and I'm sure there's many others as well.
It was, yeah.
The tea and guns. Tea and guns, not tea and sympathy. Tea and unsympathy with a gun. There you go. Nope.
I'm on fire today. This is great.
I find myself apologizing for reading just for fun sometimes. Yeah,
it's like it's like a guilty pleasure, isn't it? It's like, oh, I've got the latest Grisham, but I'm not going to talk about it on BookTube.
Well, look at Bill Rutenberg loves Grisham, and he talks about it. He reads, like, he's not apologetic about it at all. Like, he doesn't say I like him, but I know other, he doesn't do that. He just loves Grisham.
It's almost like you pick up your copy of War and Peace on the outside, but tucked in the pages you're actually reading.
Well, that's the old thing. You got the Playboy magazine with some sports car magazine on it.
Yes, it would be good. Oh, Brian's turn to be right now. That's good.
No, I'm never right. You would end up having such a small range of people that you looked into as artists if you really lived like that. Well, yeah, and it's the same. It's like when you mention artists, like you look at painters. The strange lives. I think it anybody who's artistic in any way, like a writer and stuff like that, can't be your bland normal person. They're going to have quirks in one shape or form, and some people's quirks and weirdness are just a little bit out there, like H.P. Lovecraft, who did the video of he was a strange little man. I thought that title was great.
Heather the librarian. Yeah, she did.
Great, strange little man. It's like, yeah.
She said a weird little man. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, especially with like genius and this kind of thing, there is this kind of Mozart. For Audible August, I know I'm not going to finish it because it's just too much to read in one go. But his Life and Letters, it's a book I think you want to drop in and out of. And he's a dirty boy at times. He really is. And he's probably not someone, I absolutely adore him. I adore his music. And, he can be very sweet when he talks to his wife. But then, he's really, he's somebody probably I wouldn't actually get on with if I went for a beer. But it doesn't take away my love of his music, So
yeah. Well, yeah. Brian was saying about Robert A. Heinlein. I don't really care for his novels very much. I just didn't think his stuff held together. I do like his short story writing, though. That's the thing. And because I think a lot of those writers were better at short stories, science fiction writers, because that's where they shone. That's where they started, But yeah, Heinlein, he is huge. He is, and so is Philip K. Dick. That I don't quite understand. Oh, hi, Ollie.
hey,
Yeah,
Ollie.
yeah. I just thought it was just such a great title, and I think he was quite short too. I think he was not a tall person. I don't think.
Well, she was. I mean, she's interesting, that Heather. She left me a really nice comment, and she was telling me, because she was reading that biography of him, something about his grandpa signing him up for sports and stuff to make him more manly and to get him, more physically developed or something. I mean, I know nothing about Lovecraft. The only time I've come into contact with Lovecraft on a regular basis is through watching Michael K. Vaughan's channel, and then this one with Heather. And now I'm finding myself going to take part in an H.P. Lovecraft reading, I think, in December with Heather and Alan from Big Hard Books and Classics. So, look who it is. Top of the evening to you.
Yeah, that is exactly right, Jason. An objectively terribly person can write an objectively great book, and vice versa. Reading should be should, for me, as always, the words on the page, not the hand that put them there. Exactly. But at times it's like, if you do like an author, it's sort of like a car crash. You sometimes want to know. You want to know about the author, but then for some people that ruins that experience. It's like knowing in a science fiction. I mean, not a science fiction, but just special effects films, like knowing how the magic is done ruins it for some people.
I mean, I'm really curious, and as we've got people here, why don't we put that question out there? Who for you is the most detestable author in terms of their personality? For everybody here, who would they say is the worst person who's written some of the best books?
Oh, okay, the best books. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
and that's open to all of you guys as well, of course. That's what I want to see.
I often wonder if the reason we so revere older writers or artists is precisely because we know nothing about their life. Could be, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, some of the artists, again, were horrific people. I mean, Caravaggio isn't someone you wanted to be friends with. But that's it. It's a very good point.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this canceling thing, it's like, it's weird because people were being canceled over 100 years ago, hundreds of years ago. Well, wasn't Galileo canceled by the Catholic Church?
It was, yeah.
Well, the whole Spanish Inquisition canceled people. They really knew how to cancel people
permanently. Yeah, and nobody expected it, did they?
Yeah, and there were no comfy chairs either.
But I don't like the cancelling thing, and it's not because I'm probably someone who may well end up cancelled one day for some slip of the tongue or something. But it's because I think what gives you the right. You know,
Yeah.
who are you to come and say, you know, you're speaking for everybody? And well,
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
was
say,
thinking of that. I
yeah,
was
because
thinking,
but then
how
when she
bad?
said a great book, like I would say, like I was gonna say Hitler, because of the most maybe detestable person, but I don't know if that's a great book. It's an important book that should be kept in print and annotated and everything, but there's problems with it, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I was also thinking, how detestable does someone have to be in their private life before you literally just, you know, I mean, if he had been an amazing author, could we separate Hitler's actions from his literary prowess? Probably not, given
Yeah,
what he
yeah,
did. So there is a limit, probably, where we say no, enough's enough. But
yeah,
yeah,
Brian, there is that, I think, for that, but I also think that to be artistic, you can't see things in a straightforward way. Like that's what I mean. You need quirk. You need to be a little different. You need to be like, if you're a painter, if you're a singer, and stuff like that. I truly think that people's brains are, is that a way of saying it? Their brains are wired slightly different than the general population.
I don't know if it's the correct way to say that, but it's a way of saying it. Yeah.
I think it can get challenging when the nastiness comes. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, as it often does with Lovecraft, which doesn't stop him being a great writer. His genius is stronger than his racism. Yeah, well, that's the thing, and this is what some people miss too. Is a character may be extremely racist in the book, and but the author's that's not the author. That's not necessarily what the author is saying. However, if every book, the narrative talks about the racism, and it's imbued throughout, yeah, that can be, because there is a French writer that is, what's his name? I just thought of this. My example is not to be great, but he's very, very anti-Semitic, but he's considered a great writer. I think it's a French writer, and a lot of his very anti-Semitic stuff has been like they've held back, and they haven't actually republished it or even published it. But apparently, by critics, it's brilliantly written. But what do you do with that stuff? What do you do with that? You know, that's another question.
I think
But
just to skip, if it's Jean Genet, is he who you're thinking of?
I think that's it. Yeah,
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 yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Thank you, Gerald, for that, by the way.
I think Ollie makes a good point. If it's on the page itself, it's different, but obviously, well, you were just saying, and I'm sure I'm going to use the word here because I'm not using it in derogatory terms.
I wouldn't risk it. I just would
Oh,
just thought.
okay, but the thing is, in King Solomon's Mines, H. Rider Haggard uses the derogatory N word for a black person, and then stops and says, "No, I don't like that word. I'm going to write." He's going to use something else. And when was that written?
1885, I think. But
You would
actually,
not expect that.
but as we just say, it isn't Haggard, is it? It's Alan Quatermain who says that. But
Yeah, but it's still the author coming through,
well,
sort of.
I was trying to imagine, because I've read, I don't know, 6 Quatermain books so far, and I know he uses. I mean, he does. He is such an interesting person in terms of the racism thing, because he by Ollie, because of the way he it's almost like he feels he has to be racist, like he's writing for an audience that expects him. Which, of course, I doubt they would have termed it, of course, as racism in those days anyway. It was just a normal, white British imperial attitude to the natives. But it's so interesting how he does that. But then, he has a trilogy of books where there appear no white people. The Zulu people are the heroes of the book. Quite often, the kind of black sidekick who is often ridiculed by the main white guy ends up being the person who comes through with things, remains extremely loyal, saves the day. It's very interesting because, like, if you're looking at it purely in black and white terms, you can say, yeah, he's a racist. But then I think it's more complicated than that, because I think there's a difference between, how can I say this? There's a difference between like just speaking in an acceptable way for the time and feeling hate or malice towards those groups. And I think very few of those authors who use those bad words in their writings necessarily at the time, very few of them actually despise it. It's like I was surprised with Tarzan. Now, Edgar Rice Burroughs is known for being a racist author, but even he stopped himself in one sentence and expressed his sympathy for the you've read it, haven't you? Yeah, I don't know, the Tarzan, the first book, for the tribe that ends up being like basically wiped out by the French and all this kind of stuff. Even he says that this is something that's too far. And then he portrays the Mammy character, the Esmeralda, as kind of similar to, I guess, later Margaret Mitchell does with Mammy in Gone with the Wind, or at least from the film. I haven't read the book yet, but there's also some sympathy there. So a lot of times it's not born out of hatred, and I think that's the problem. It's born out of ignorance, or it's born out of what they believe just to be normal discourse. The issue is when the motivation for saying what they're saying is born out of malice or hatred. At least that's the way I look at it. So.
Yeah, well, and I think too that when people use sort of terms, like even now, like in everyday usage, like in 50 or 100 years, a lot of things that we've been saying here and people say on a daily basis could very well be considered offensive, but we don't see it here, and and so you can't judge people by that. But it's like the people who use that word, the N word, in writing and in language, like it's like they may never, like some of those people would never maybe know that was an offensive word. And I really believe that some people didn't. And it was an accepted word for it, and then it would become, another word. And then that becomes later in time unacceptable. And then it changes to another word that is more or less becoming unacceptable now. It's like times change, but I think it's really the thought behind it and the thing. And there's a difference between somebody using certain language or and stuff, and it depends on how they use it, I guess. And it's same as sexist language. There's a lot of stuff that was said about women, derogatory things that you go, ooh, you wouldn't say that to a woman now, but then it was never considered something really that bad until the person actually, you look at the other actions that they made against that person.
Well, I mean, the portrayal of women in literature is a really interesting one as well, especially by other women. And it's like, when I read a while ago Anne Radcliffe, Tales of Adolpho, her character is like the biggest wet week. You would think she would kind of like, try and build her up a bit, but like they're fainting all over the place. And this is something I find fascinating, and I would love to know is, did women really faint and this kind of thing at a drop of a hat in those days? Did they really? And then how did it stop that they don't do it anymore? I mean, we don't walk down the street and see swooning and fainting women every 5 minutes. Whereas you read these books, even by women, it's like they get the vapors and, get the smelling salts, and they're just gone all the
I
time.
think it was socially acceptable, but I think corsets had a lot to do with it as well. You
Yeah.
couldn't breathe. Brian, you might have the winner there for the most detestable person, but again, interesting writing. Let's put it that way. Or I got to get caught up here with the comments, Gareth. But that's also why you could praise people even more for being more forward thinking and progressive, going beyond the time they lived. Like, yeah. That was the author that I couldn't think of. That was a great. Oh, wow.
Ooh, there you go.
A racist character isn't necessarily expressing that of the author. Celine. So, Celine stuff that wasn't the author that I was thinking of. I think the best literature reflects the world as it is, not how it could be. Yeah, because a lot of times people don't see. This is the thing. I think a lot of people fool themselves of how things actually are in the world. So when somebody actually writes and says, "Well, wait a minute," it's actually this, or showing the racism that's being done. Like could anybody write like that's the thing that bothers me is when somebody writes something that's in the past, whether 100 years or before. They are writing the sensibilities of the people of their present, usually. And they don't write the sensibilities. Like, are you gonna and that's to me problematic, where you got somebody who they're portraying a racist character, but everything they say and do, they don't say and do anything racist. There's a problem there. But then there's a problem if you do it too much, so you're sort of damned if you do and damned if you don't. What you say about Haggard correcting, that is what I mean about people going beyond the tone. Yeah, and it happens. But that's the thing. People do forget. They always point out all the bad, and they never point out, well, it wasn't all like this. And it's the same thing as some people. Some people, like some authors in the past, had bad traits, but that wasn't their whole being. Some it was, like Desaad. That was ingrained.
Houston Stewart Chamberlain or someone like that, maybe.
Yeah. Summer says court.
Nice Summer.
Good point, Brian. Word is, if its intent is to degrade, it is offensive, racist. The intent of the N-word has always been to degrade. It may have been in common usage, but it was. But I think a lot of some people, I think, were just, again, like I was saying, they don't understand. They were ignorant of this kind of stuff.
Well, I want to bring something up about that, because I really don't know, and I find it as an interesting point. We're just talking about America here, though. I mean, British people may have used that word, of course, at times to degrade, but they might not have used it necessarily in the same way. I knew people, very, very old people, who are no longer with us, would, refer to something as being something, I'm not going to say the word, something brown, as like salmon pink and this brown, when they were talking even in a shop, for example. So, and, there was people, I don't know. Yeah, probably it's always derogatory, but I see it more as an Americanism, more than.
Well, I think people, like, on the opposite end of it, it was derogatory anytime that you hear it. But I think some people that were saying it didn't realize it, because there were times that there's people that grew up in areas in the United States or in places they never saw somebody that was different from them. They only saw their own social group, their own economic group, and all they did is hear about other things. So they didn't think. I don't think. Some people don't think, and that goes to the thing, and that makes them stupid, maybe. But it's the thing where, like Jason was saying about how, they perceive the world or describe the world, but they don't see the world. They're looking at it through rose-colored glasses, and so when they use it, it might be derogatory, or it is derogatory. Not might be. It is derogatory and racist. But do they mean it that way? And then that's the distinction I'm making. That and in those cases, it's hard to know which is which. But in writing, it might be a little different. But yeah, and then Brian was saying here too, that doesn't mean that every author who has a character that uses the N-word is themselves. Yeah, that's exactly right too. But if the narrator uses it all the time and constantly and has a diatribe through whole books that a certain population is a certain way, then yeah, you can see that as problematic. But I never met a person growing up in Texas who used the term. I don't know every. Yeah, no. Now, yes, I'm talking about 100 years ago. I'm talking about 100 years ago when that term and words were common usage for everybody, or for the most part. I think then there were people that didn't understand that it was a derogatory and racist term. I think there were people. Now, if you don't know that, yeah, you have serious problems. You have serious problems. I noticed Doyle's saying savages a lot in Lost World for the natives, which was interesting because they clearly comes from an imperialist bringing. Yeah.
But you see, that's always something that interests me. I mean, is it wrong to ever class any culture or society as having been savage? I mean, like, for example, I don't know, if there was a tribe of people, like cannibals, for example, can we not really regard cannibalism as savage, especially when there are alternatives to food do you know what I mean? Are there not some instances where it is just a simple adjective that really does describe a certain practice that we consider and to be completely savage or uncivilized? I know it's difficult because, what exactly is civilization? I always think of, was it Gandhi? When some reporter asked him and said, what do you think of Western civilization? And he said, I think it would be a good idea. Something like that. I might have misquoted it, but I do wonder. I think of things like in India, was it Seti? The practice of burning widows alive on the funeral pyres of their husbands. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the name. I don't know. I can't remember.
This is something, maybe one of the few things you can point to as a benefit of, perhaps at least for the women, probably, of colonialism, perhaps for them, because they outlawed this practice, which I think, and I don't want to offend anybody if they are Hindu and they look at it as like really important part of the religion, right? But I do think that's quite barbaric from my own standards. No?
Yeah, Gareth says, or Gerald saying it's Sadi. But yeah, it's interesting you mentioned cannibals because it came up in a few videos is Moby Dick. And there is a character in there, the one of the harpooner, I think it is. He's described as a cannibal, but he saves this white person.
No spoilers. I'm going to start reading it soon.
No, but it's really good. He saves a white person. He says, "Oh, us cannibals have to be I'm not quoting it exactly, but he's sort of saying we've got to help these poor Christians." And I just thought that was hilarious. That was just so great. It's just the other side of the coin. And
it's interesting, of course, because that comes from the mind of Melville, of course.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Kelly. I like that some authors are getting clapback post-mortem, new authors writing cosmic horror and making it better by not being racist. Lovecraft was a jerk. I suppose so.
I just don't know enough. I don't know enough about him to comment. I'm really wanting to look into him more for that reason.
Was,
how bad he was.
The remark about using the terms and stuff. Because we're getting behind here. Gareth, there is a risk that you never believe that there's racist intent because they're giving everyone the benefit of the doubt. There is, yeah, I suppose so. I guess, yeah, but I really think that some people, they don't really realize what words they're using and the impact that they mean. Some people do, and even today, like people use hurtful words to describe certain people, and they don't realize, they don't think it's a hurtful word. And I'm not talking as racist or anything like that, but there are words that are always been used, I think. From what I've seen, people who describe a tribe or people as savages wasn't particularly nuanced. It was just Edward's Said's Orientalism at work.
Edward Said, yeah.
I find it interesting that Western civilization is so disgusted by cannibalism when one of the most important Christian rituals. Yeah. Most cases of cannibalism were, as the great Francis Pryor would claim one time, ritual. Yeah. Yeah.
So, it should be a question perhaps you could add to your desert island book, Sean.
What?
Which booktuber are you going to take to the island to eat when you run out of food?
Yeah.
We might find ourselves very popular.
Well, there's so much. I think, we should have Mark Richardson here because he'd be able to, and maybe Jason can answer this for sure. There was, I thought, in maritime law that under certain circumstances, sailors that are stranded and were brought back, and it wasn't okay to eat your fellow passengers or fellow sailors, but it was understood that it would happen and you wouldn't be prosecuted for it.
Kind of what goes on tour stays on tour, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know how true that is. Like I've always heard that and read about it, but I don't know how true it is.
It sounds apocryphal to me. I can't imagine that they would. They probably just wouldn't push to find out, maybe. But I don't.
What's the saying? Don't ask, don't tell. Recently put down Robinson Crusoe due to Defoe going on and on about the savages.
That's a difficult one there, Freeman, because the book, I mean, it's widely regarded as like the first novel in English almost, and it's so long ago that I don't know. I mean, I think their view wouldn't have been anything else.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, every civilization always basically had a word for us and them. And us are civilized, they are not.
It's true.
Indeed, the custom of the sea defense. Okay, yeah, so it was real, yeah. Brian, my students used to play the Who Would You Eat game, and I always told them the strongest people will decide who, yeah. Draw lots and see who would be eaten or stranded. Yeah, it is. I think, yeah. It's in every cultural group. There's always us and them.
I often think it's the thing that would be like the savior for our planet, really.
What, cannibalism?
No, to find alien life, because then we can move up a level in defining us and them. If we know there are other life forms out in the galaxies or whatever, then we might actually come more together as a planet because it's us, isn't it? You know, you see it. It's like your little village, it's us and then them. But then, of course, the whole nation's threatened. So then it's us as the nation against them over there, another nation. And then, you know, that's how I feel. I feel, yeah, if we find aliens, it will probably bring us all closer together.
Have you been reading Carl Sagan? He's one of the proponents of that. But yeah, but the thing is, I sort of think that too. But
Sorry. I just have to interrupt the next comment. It's very important. Yeah, thank you.
I sort of think that, but I also think of humans the way they are. There's going to be so many people that are going to want to stomp on other people to get friends with the aliens so they can dominate everybody else on Earth. I think that's the other side of the coin that is possible.
Well, just looking at, I think Jason's right. It would be terribly boring. But looking at Gareth's comment there, I think it's the assumption that maybe that we would be the savages probably in that scenario, though, wouldn't we?
Well, that's what science fiction is so much stuff.
Hang on, I want to ask people this, and I never understand. Why is it we always assume that these aliens are going to be so much more advanced than us and that they're going to look radically different from us? Why can't they be at a further back in development than us and look kind of like us?
I guess a parallel evolution is unlikely unless there's only one way of developing intelligence. But on Earth here, I don't think that's true because there are intelligent other species.
Yeah, but if the conditions, I mean, it seems like the conditions have to be fairly uniform, don't they, for life generally that we know of? I mean, unless there's some other form, like, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing, and they're going to be very alien. The thought processes are going to be very different, and if they and there could be, if there is parallel sort of, I guess, human-like creatures out there, they're not going to get to us. We'll get to them, and we'll destroy them.
But what if we are the most advanced evolutionary beings in the universe, and people haven't caught us up yet?
Then we're very unique, as Carl Sagan would say. If there's no one else,
no, I'm not saying that there's no one else. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe I'm simple. I don't know, because I don't read a lot of science fiction, but I never understand why different planets that could harbor life just can't be in different time periods of evolution. So, like, we had our dinosaurs 70 million years ago or whatever. So another planet that has life may have their dinosaurs right now, for example. They might have their Neanderthals or whatever wandering around right now. So what if we are the ones who kind of, we're at the front of the...
Yeah. Well,
we've come the furthest since the universe has been around. We're the ones who've come the furthest so far, and all the other life just hasn't caught us up yet. They're still...
That's Carl Sagan. That's Carl Sagan as well. We're unique in that way, so therefore we shouldn't destroy ourselves. And in either case, that if we're not unique, we should come together if there are other aliens, because we're not unique. But if we are unique, then we shouldn't destroy ourselves. So it's like two sides of the same coin. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
Thanks for joining in. Just wanted to drop by and say hey. All right. Let's see here, Gareth. We're way behind in comments, I think. We don't always think that lots of episodes of Star Trek explore that. The Prime Directive instead of.
That's why I need to watch more science fiction. I'm reading
Star Trek, though. Oh, that's detestable. Detestable science fiction shows. There's my next video.
5 then.
Not detestable. Gerald's Bliss have to be technologically more advanced. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. They would have to be the reachers, but they haven't reached us yet. So maybe we are the most technologically advanced so far. So
yeah, Kelly, they will likely come here looking for something to eat. I'm not sure I would welcome being found. We think we are so advanced, but have never been farther than the moon.
Well, if we went there at all,
Well, no, we're outside of the the robots are outside of the solar system. Yeah, you need to read more science fiction. Gareth, the likelihood that we are the most advanced is pretty small. I reckon some the other way around, or same the other way around, we would be somewhere on the spectrum as there's billions and billions of stars out there. Yeah. Or they already, yeah, yeah. It's just us. There is no hope. Yeah. The reason I think we always imagine aliens being stronger in science fiction, SF, is because it creates more scary scenarios for stories.
That's a very interesting point, because it's like almost then the opposite or antithesis or whatever you want to call it to these adventure stories we're reading, because we like to go out and, fight the inverted commas savages who are weaker than us and not as intelligent as us, and now that kind of stuff, according to the writers. I'm saying these are not my words. So it's like the opposite, isn't it? We like the aliens to be stronger and more advanced than us to come and take us over. But when we're reading, 19th century adventure fiction, we like the fact that we're big and strong and we're going to move in and do what we want. It's true, right? You can't do that. I mean, you look at all those books, it's the opposite way around, especially if it's British. We're quite happy to show that we can go and dominate. So we're like the evil empire that sci-fi authors are writing against. Humanity is the good thing against the evil empire, whereas in 18th century or whatever 19th century adventure fiction, the British Empire is the evil empire, and the small tribes or whatever are humanity.
There's a very interesting short story, and I somebody may know the name. I can't remember the name or the author.
Gerald's going to know it.
It's set in the United States, but I think it's the civilization of Africa. North America has fallen, and there is they come and explore America, and they find that America are savages basically now, or they're so low, and they actually wind up killing the last American because it's an interesting dynamic. It's like there's an Australian documentary. It's called Barbecuria. I don't know if it's on the internet or it's fabulous. It's the indigenous peoples of Australia, as if they're coming first of all in discovering Australia with modern, and it's called Barbecuria because they have a barbecue area.
Uh-huh.
And they talk about these strange customs these Australians have. It's a really great anthropological thing, but turned on its side. I don't know if that has any bearing to our conversation, but I thought it was interesting. Becky, I don't know who Becky Chambers is writing a more complex vision of aliens and human relationships, and she's getting criticized for lack of conflict.
Well, you don't know her, Sean, because she's still alive. So
yeah, that's true. Maybe they have been and gone. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Maybe they're us.
Maybe the 19th century adventure fiction convinced us that any advanced beings would automatically want to destroy us.
Good point, Brian.
Oh, yeah. See you, Jason. Thanks for
Cheerio,
Gerald's Bliss. I don't know that story, but would love to read it.
You'll have to find out what it was called.
Yeah, I don't know what that word is that he's put in there.
Schadenfreude.
What's it mean?
Like shame or something, if I remember rightly. I know it's yeah.
Well, thanks, Albert. Let's see here. Medium John Silver. The barriers for interstellar travel may be insurmountable, faster than light. Forget it. Travel near light speed for time dilation. That needs so much shielding is. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like that's why authors use different ways of doing for FTL, faster than light speed. And the thing is, too, that we don't know everything about science in the universe. There could be other ways of doing things. Just because you can't go speed-wise faster than the speed of light, there might be different ways. Let's get it. Cold-blooded. Yeah. Joy from suffering.
Schadenfreude.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I'll see if I can find that. I should be able to dig it up. I read it a long time ago, but I should be able to find it at some point. That story. The pleasure you take in others. Yeah. That German phrase means yeah. Okay.
Everyone knows, Sean.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a funny song about it in the musical Avenue Q. I guess the pleasure in someone else's pain. I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah, well, that's why it's so funny when somebody falls and falls off a roof and bounces a few times on the ground, or you see these videos of skateboarders, cracking their what, or falling somewhere. That's really funny.
I don't know. It can be funny. It's true.
No,
it's
yeah,
really weird. It was quite cold earlier, and now I feel like it's quite warm.
Yeah, it feels like it's warmed up here as well. Yeah, I've got the fan on. I don't know how noisy it is.
Well, I think it's just too important, isn't it? I mean, what America does affects all of us pretty much. So
well, and there's lots of drama, and I guess we found out that drama is entertainment these days, definitely, and countries. So it's like when you see stuff about Boris Johnson, that gets headline news in Canada, especially, and I'm sure in the US as well.
It's just embarrassment.
And yeah, I don't know. You're welcome, Brian. Oh, that is it. Is it because of that they take pleasure in the pain of watching? Yeah, it could be, I suppose. Yeah, we forget our own misfortunes because it seems so much worse there. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like,
well, unless you are British, of course, and then you might have it. Depending how you look at it, it might not seem as bad, perhaps. But
well, and the other thing is too. I think that it's like when you're feeling bad, you can read something that's about somebody that's worse, and you go, "Oh, geez, I'm feeling better now. I'm not that bad,"
Or Schadenfreude, maybe.
Kelly, or when a public figure that you just like starts to get unpleasant repercussions from their actions. Yeah, but it doesn't. With politicians now, it doesn't matter how detestable they are; they still seem to come out shining. They could fall into a cesspit and come out clean somehow, and I don't get it.
Honestly, I don't get it. There's no honor. Well, I'm not saying there was really much honor in it, but there seems to be zero at all now. It's just outrageous. They almost have to be carried from office.
Well, see, this is the thing that's interesting. If you or I say something that is objectionable, we get pilloried for it and people do on the internet. But if you're a politician, you could say whatever you want, and it doesn't matter, or at least it seems to.
Yeah, just so. She wrote when a pubic figure.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Did I say that, or did I?
You read it as public, I think. But I didn't get it.
Yeah. That would be a very different scene in The Sound of Music. When we feel bad, I just think about people in pain and other countries.
These are a few of my favorite things. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. When
you're talking about sugar coated.
Sorry.
No, I was just saying that Sound of Music. That's very sugar coated stuff. But again, it goes back to enjoyment, and it's a hugely popular thing. And that's why I don't know if anybody's ever seen SOB with her. What's her name that was in
Julie Andrews?
Yeah. It's a Blake Edwards film. It is fabulous. It's a film about a director who's married to Julie Andrews, and she's always played.
It's biographical then.
Well, sort of.
Because they were married. Blake Edwards and Julie Andrews.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, in Julie Andrews' character in SOB, is like she's married to a director in there, but she's played these goody two shoe books. Characters all her life, and her director husband wants to put her in a pornography film, and then through that film she bares her breasts. So it's like a really weird dimensional thing about Julie Andrews, because she does this film that she's partially nude in it, and she's playing a character that's in that. It's so many levels.
Is it SOB?
Yeah, I'm sure it's SOB.
It's not 10, is it, with Bo Derek in it?
No. That's a different film.
But it's not Blake Edwards as well, is it?
I'm pretty sure it's Blake Edwards.
No, I mean 10 with Bo Derek is.
No, I don't think that's Blake Edwards. No.
See, I know what you're talking about, and I always thought maybe I just remember sneaking down and watching both of them at some points, because I remember being shocked, because I love, and I'm not afraid to admit it or ashamed to admit it, love Mary Poppins. It's one of my favorite films, right? I absolutely adore it. And then seeing, because she wasn't that young in it. She was probably middle aged, wearing her bra and taking off her top. Julie Andrews, I mean, in this
in the SOB. Yeah, she rips off. She does a dance thing. She rips off her top. Yeah.
I must have got the two confused. Yeah. I mean, I know obviously Bo Derek's in it, but I thought it was part of the same storyline in my head. Yeah. No,
it just her bringing that up. It was sort of like she's always played these goody two shoe characters, and in the film, and then it sort of mirrors in a way like a different level in real life.
Hi, Amy. Sorry.
Yeah, Americanization of Emily. I think I arrived at an odd time in the conversation.
No, it's been like that. It's been like that the whole time.
Yeah.
No.
No, it's a hilarious. I think it's a hilarious film, because I just remember now scenes where the guy dies, and they take him on a pub crawl, basically. The dead body, they break into the morgue and they take his body, or the Undertaker's, and they take him around drinking. It's hilarious. It is definitely not a PC film, and there's so many issues with it, but it's just unapologetically funny.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you mentioned Sound of Music. That's what made me think of it. Because, like I was talking about, sugar coated, like, it's very, like she plays like goody two shoe characters, like Mary Poppins. It's like she never really played bad girls.
Have you seen? Of course, this is to everybody. Have you seen those trailers people make where they like Mary Poppins as a horror film trailer, for example? Have you seen that, Sean? Or
no, I haven't.
Brilliant. And there's like, what if The Shining was a charming romantic comedy? And all they do is they just recut the trailers with just different music in it, and it's amazing how scary Mary Poppins appears when you put in some scary music. Sliding up and down the stairs and all this kind of stuff. I'll send it to you. Brilliant. Hi, Claire.
Yeah, hi, Claire. And I'm is that Joe Diffie, the country singer? I'm not sure, but yeah. Bye, Kelly.
Bye.
Thanks for stopping by. Well, she's probably gone by now.
But you have to go bye, Kelly.
Yeah, I guess is she a fan? Like, maybe I shouldn't say this. I was saying, is she a fan of Hemingway that repeats himself all the time?
Don't say that.
I don't mean it as an offensive way. It's just
No.
because Hemingway, it seems to be the normal 3 times that he gets his characters repeat things in 3 different ways.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I recommend that to you all as well to check out. Like, just type in Mary Poppins as a horror film trailer or something like that, or The Shining as a rom-com. It's brilliantly done.
I'm sure somebody has probably made a low budget horror film because I could see people's anxieties about Mary Poppins and stuff like that, as being a horror film, and I'm sure somebody's done that.
Well, I mean, trust me, the way they cut it, like, as I say, they just take bits from the film, completely normal, change the music, the tone. It's amazing what difference that music makes to something that looks so innocent. Like, as I say, it's all fun when the music's nice and the children are sliding down the stairs. But put in some spooky music and you get like shades of, the Exorcist girl turning her head kind of thing, as they're going down the stairs. It's amazing. No, the weird American Cockney penguins. No.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, because I think there's certain things. Like, I only found, well, maybe it was about 10 or 15 years ago, that people there's a huge, and there's a name for it, I'm sure, and I can't remember what it is. Fear of clowns. That is a real thing.
I don't like them.
Yeah, I just found that sort of weird. So, but clowns are in a lot of films, and I think penguins, that kind of thing. I think penguins are sort of scary thing. Why do you think in Batman there's the penguin?
I don't know. I don't see penguins as scary, but then of course it's.
Well, I don't see clowns either, but people do.
Yeah, clowns are horrible.
Why? See, that's the thing. It's I get the fact that they are to some people, but I don't see it.
It's easier for me, I think, to see a clown as being scary than a penguin.
Yeah, me, anyway. But I don't find either. So yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That everybody has, their own thing. There's a name for the irrational fear of thinking a duck is always watching. Really? Really?
The one that freaks me out is the irrational fear of holes. Trapomorphia? No, but it's like seeing holes in your skin, or it's a really weird thing. Yeah.
Geese can be scary because they can pummel you almost to death. They can break your arm with their wings.
Is that Canadian geese, eh?
Oh, any geese. Well, probably Canadian geese.
Swans.
Yeah.
Swans can be dangerous, but.
No, I've not. Yeah, I have not been attacked by a clown.
Oh dear, I don't know. To be honest, children terrify me. Which is great for a teacher, but in horror films, if you want to get the wind up me, put the kids in there. Put the kids in there. There's nothing scarier than those children in horror films, like, I don't know, The Others or something. Oh, freaks me out. The Innocents, that's a great old horror film. The Far Side panel, brilliant.
Yeah, I love Canada Goose, aka Cobra Chicken.
Coulrophobia.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I knew there was a name for it. There's a name for everything, I'm sure. Like, I wouldn't. There has to be people that are afraid of everything. Like, I mean, sandals maybe, or open-toed shoes. Like, I mean, they're like, I think it's all dependent on the person. Love Farside did a video on him.
Oh. Let's check that. I love Gary Larson.
Yeah, I used to read the comics. Like, I always liked. Now we're on to comics here. I always liked BC, the Peanuts. I'm trying to think what else.
I like the Larson one. I always remember is the boy pushing on the door, and it says something like such and such school of the gifted. He's pushing on a door that says pull.
No, Claire's right. Yeah, you can use geese as guard.
The Romans used them.
Yeah. Oh, is that really? Fear of penguin. Is that real word? I can't even pronounce it. Phobia.
Picoenophobia. I wonder if there's a fear of booktube.
Probably. Well, there's definitely fear. Well, the people get anxiety of doing videos. And
what would it be called? Bibliophobia or something?
Well, there's bibliophobia. There is something called
fear of books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there are people.
Well, I know there probably is a fear of everything, for everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's probably. So, what about Pingu? Would they be afraid of Pingu as well? But I bet a lot of viewers don't know who Pingu is.
And what's fear of the French? Francophobia?
It must be, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like some people would say that's not a fear, that's just common sense.
Oh.
No, I'm saying some people. I never said it.
I know.
And bibliophobia is the fear of running out of. Oh yeah, I definitely have that. The naming of fears is almost as funny as the names for collective nouns. Yeah. Videophobia, if I may coin the term. Yeah.
Booktube. Fear of booktube. Well, maybe Amy's got a fear of emoticons. What is that?
It's I think sort of a blush with the mouth open a bit or something. I'm always sure. Not sure. I'm sure someone has written an essay. Oh yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. That I could see. Actually, I could see Clive James. Clive James would have been great to do something like that. He would have just made it. People who had those fears would hate him, but he would make it funny. where some things shouldn't be funny, but sometimes they are.
And have you got a phobia, Sean? If it's not too private for here, some kind of irrational fear?
Oh, I guess heights. I'm not good with heights. I don't know if that's a phobia thing, but I don't feel good. But I can be at heights. But if I'm on a thing and there's no barrier between the edge, then I don't feel good doing that.
See, I can't even get up on a height anymore. I don't even fly because I'm afraid. And I was watching something on YouTube, or I don't know, TikTok or Instagram, I can't remember. And it was one of those people who they were climbing one of these skyscraper cranes.
Yeah.
Just walking along it, and he was holding his camera. It made me physically sick just watching that. And I was in bed, So.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's a rational fear. But you see, I can sit in an airplane and look out a window, and I enjoy that. I don't get fear of being in that way.
When you're that high, it doesn't seem real, I think.
Well, even if I'm in a building really up and I'm at a glass window and look out, I'm okay because I know the window's there. I know there's a barrier there. It's when there's no barrier. Heights that move and they move in your mind. Like it feels like you're being pulled. And like that's how I feel. Like if I'm on an edge of a building or walking on something, it feels like something is pulling me over that edge.
Well, I remember being in China. That's probably about 12 years ago, and I was walking across one of these kind of ravines on one of these ropey bridges, and I was terrified to do it anyway. And I got just shy of halfway, and suddenly, like at both ends, there's like these gangs of tour groups. And they just thought it was the funniest thing in the world to swing the bridge. They're all doing it, swinging like that. But the problem was, and I don't want this to sound offensive, it is just a fact. I'm generally taller than, average people there. So the safety rail was below my, below my waist, I think, if I remember right. It wasn't high enough for me to feel comfortable. And I panicked, right? I literally panicked. And instead of just going forward, I actually turned around and went back, where I'd started from. And I just remember these people, they're laughing, they find it hysterical. I'm literally just shaking. I'm just pushing these Chinese grandmas out the way as I'm barging through to get back to the other side. It was terrifying, man. It was really terrifying.
Yeah, I couldn't do that kind of thing. Summer,
so Summer, come on. You want to come in? You want to join us? But you see, again, it's a little more rational than some of them, because there is a chance that people are gonna, you don't want to feel bad, and there is a chance that by coming on live, you might get some horrible person who will make you feel bad. Right? That's probably it, isn't it? You might think, it's possible, isn't it, Sean? We could be very unlucky, and some horrible person comes in and starts making disgusting comments, and that's a reason to have some trepidation as opposed to fear, I suppose.
Well, that's interesting. Native Americans don't suffer from heights. That's interesting. Huh. Like it might be. There's your answer, Mark.
Yeah. But in Czech Republic, no means yes.
Oh God, that's you've just flagged up every
why
relationship thing. Like no means yes.
Yeah, the no means I didn't mean that, because
you've just
ironically in Czech the word for yes is ano, no, right? No is yes and ne is no, so it's quite confusing.
It's not Dunbar, is it? What's his name? It's the steeplejack guy and the steam locomotive enthusiast. Dibner. Is it Dibner or Dibno? Dibna. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, it's like when I see some of those old videos of him at the top of a smokestack, it's like, no. Yeah, it's really, heights. Yeah, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. And I never have, but I can't think of anything else. I haven't met anything. Like I know a lot of people are afraid of snakes is another big one. Balloons apparently is a big one too. I found that out working here. I don't know if it's more in English people in England that the fear of balloons, because I never came across it until working in the UK here.
I don't know. I have come across some weird ones, and I can't for the life of me remember now what it is. But I felt so awful because I joked with the person because I couldn't believe it was real. It was something ridiculous. Like, sorry, I don't mean to be offensive if anyone. It was something like a fear of ice cream, or you know what I mean. And I just couldn't. I thought they were joking with me. So of course I'm waving it in their face, and they're like, "No, stop it." And then they got really. I can't remember what it was, and it was like, "My God, that really exists." I was like, "Whoa, sorry."
Yeah, well, it's like where, like, there's, like you do wonder where this comes from, or I do. It's like balloons. Why is there a fear of balloons? Is it the sound they make on edge?
Maybe, I don't know.
Claire's dad was a was a Z high steel worker, inherited his lack of fear of heights. Yeah, like when you see, I just like, I think I can do some stuff. I can force myself to do it, but I know it's not pleasant. I don't get so, or at least I never have got so far that I froze. And I know people that I've known people that are fear heights that they freeze.
Yeah. They freeze. And then start pushing Chinese grandmas out the way to escape.
Well, you didn't freeze if you're pushing people out of the way.
That's true. But
and that's why, like, I can't watch some of these where people do climb up like a high-rise building without a. See, I could do something like that probably if I had a rope on me. See, if I know that there's some way that if I screw up, I'm not plummeting, thousands of feet, then that would be that I might be okay with that if I know that, or at least think that, you know.
I don't know.
And in an airplane, I'm fine because yeah, it may seem that, but it's also too that you realize that if anything happens, you're screwed anyway. So don't worry about it.
My sister, when she was in New Zealand, she tried what do you call it? Skydiving. Yeah, skydiving.
Yeah.
You know, and it's and she said it was amazing. But she, you know, she's someone who was afraid of heights and is afraid of heights. And it's, you know, you watch the video of her because of course they filmed it for her, and you can see the terror, you know, and it's quite weird to watch. You see this terror in her face. But she goes through with it, you know, which is for me very admirable. I'm not sure I could do it. You know, she's stronger than me in that respect for sure. But yeah, her enthusiasm for it afterwards, she's like, "Ah, it's amazing." And a lot of people I've spoken to have had the same thing. They've been deathly afraid of it, and then they've somehow just gone with it rather than create a fuss. You know, very British way. I'm not going to cause any. You know, I'm up here now. I've got no choice. I've got to jump. And then afterwards, yeah, it's the most amazing feeling in the world. You can't describe it. And
well, you get a rush. You get a rush,
isn't it? You know, I'm not. I just don't think I could do it. You know, even if I was like under the weight requirement, because I think the highest you can be, or at least it used to be around 16 stone, I think.
Damn! So that means I can't do it.
That's it. Yeah. So, no, I prefer to keep my 2 feet firmly on the ground. So, yeah. No, it's been very interesting. I'm just wondering. There's something I wanted to say. Bungee jumping? No.
Oh yeah, no,
Michael. No way. The only thing I'd like to try, but it would be enclosed, so I wouldn't feel too bad. But I probably again wouldn't be able to get off the ground. Is the wind tunnel thing that blows you up and gives you that sensation of falling without really? Do you know what I mean? It's like a really strong vent of wind, I suppose, and it's strong enough to hold your weight up, so you can like hover there like you're flying.
Yeah,
that's something I wouldn't mind trying. But,
what about the astronauts one in the airplanes when they die?
Oh no!
And you're floating like in weightless.
Do you know? And I don't know if this ever happened. You might remember more than me, Sean. But I remember years ago reading a magazine article where they were discussing filming a pornographic film in that.
In what? In
the astronaut's plane.
I don't know. Why would I know?
Because you're older than me, you might remember the article better. Yeah,
no, I never heard of that. I never heard of that.
It was in one of those terrible lad rag publications of the 90s. Yeah, I don't know, Loaded or something like that. And I remember, you know, I was at boarding school and I was reading it and I thought, oh, that's really interesting. You know, it wasn't just because, of course, it's a pornographic film, but the idea just seemed really weird to me. You know, that they with these other ones, you could expect maybe somebody trying something like that now, with especially Bezos' penis that goes up into space. It's like, who designed that thing? It's like when I first saw it, it was like, really? Yeah, overcompensation, perhaps.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. But yeah, it's been really interesting today. Covered a wide range of topics.
Yeah, there's still people here. The vomit comet, they call the parabolic flight plane. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know if I could handle it. I'm not sure if I could handle it.
A pornographic film?
No, the vomit comet.
Ah, the vomit comet. Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's the fact that if the pilot makes a mistake, it's catastrophic, isn't it? You know.
Well, you do have to put your life in other people's hands at times, and there's probably I'm sure that is a it could be part of anxiety, or there's a fear of that where if you don't have control of your surroundings, people do have problems with that. And I don't know if that's anxiety or there's probably a whole separate thing for that as well. But yeah, no, it's been a weird.
Yeah, I don't fancy that.
Confined. Yeah, I'm fine with confined spaces. That's the thing. What? What?
Well, I'm just thinking you just obviously so surrounded by books from the point of view of the video. I'm thinking, yeah, he's fine with confined spaces. It's just like...
Well, yeah, it's like Isaac Asimov, and he described it as claustrophilia, not claustrophobia, claustrophilia.
Claustrophilia.
Yeah, because you enjoy the enclosed spaces.
Oh, yeah, maybe some people, I don't know, some security in being enclosed. But oh dear, oh dear.
I find that offensive.
But I did it in such a nice way, Sean, that it wasn't offensive, right? I didn't go, eh. Well, the thing is, we don't know what's on the other side of the camera in Sean's place, right? So it could be vast, vast open space there, and this is just a little nook with a few books in it. Yeah, exactly. It's probably just a little closet.
Let's just say the space now has become a closet.
Oh, it's terrible, Sean. We're bullying you. Sorry.
Well, crikey, it's almost what are we at? We're just almost just less than 10 minutes shy of 2 hours.
It flies by, doesn't it?
Yeah, we've covered a vast array of topics: pornography, destroying, writers, you name it.
Yeah, it's true. Julie Andrews' breasts.
And I think people that have never known that, they'll never get that out of their mind.
You should have reacted. It made me seem really weird then.
So last few minutes, somebody pick a topic.
Yeah, or ask a question.
We'll riff on it. Let's see. Pick a topic, somebody, or pick a couple topics, and we'll try to riff on it.
Take us through to the 2-hour mark, and that's that. No, he's not. He's not.
Yeah, there's delay in things, so we'll see what happens.
Oh
God!
But actually, there's some truth to that, though. I don't know if I should say it, and I don't mean this in an offensive way. So if the person happens to be lurking in the background, I apologize. But I do find it weird when I see videos that highlight the generation or age of the person making the video as if it's some kind of positive or benefit you're going to get from watching the video. It's like looking at a video where someone says, 3 baby boomers discuss Baywatch, or 2 millennials discuss such and such. It just seems a weird thing for me. Or am I alone?
Well, but then again, Mark Richardson and I did the 2 Old Coots, dig archaeology. So I guess that's
true. That's true. So yeah, you're part of my pet peeves too, Sean.
No, well, with young people, I think it's just it's that word, young. There's certain things, but you don't have to be young to be inexperienced. But you being of a lesser age, you generally can't have as much experience in general as somebody who's older in everything. But then again, there are some people that could be 80 years old that never went out of their house for their whole lives and never done anything,
Sure.
And then somebody 25 who's traveled all over the world and been in wars or and stuff like that. But the thing is, not sort of talking. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, I guess, it's again with the pronouncements is the main thing.
That's it, isn't
So
it?
the next topic is Tintin. I've never read the comics or the thing. I know of Tintin, but that's it.
Goodness, Sean, you haven't lived. You see,
So I can't really talk about
love Tintin.
Tintin.
I'm gonna say I love Tintin. I grew up with it. Love it.
Probably just another title to give it a clickbait element. Probably harmless.
There's some guy. Yeah. What is your next clickbait title going to be, Sean?
I don't know. I've been trying to think. Tintin is admirable, but only until you're about 12. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I can agree, Gerald. Snowy the dog does it for me, even at 42.
Well, I keep referring to the Peanuts. Charles
What?
Schultz, the Peanuts.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Charlie Brown.
Misheard you.
That there's more philosophy and more wisdom in there than I think a library of philosophers, in their books. I think it's just they're so great. So that's about all I can put towards Tintin, because I know of it, but I'm not sure. Dog is so cute. Some young people are old at 20. Yeah.
I should know. I used to teach young accountants. Sorry to the accountants out there. Well,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. But it's on an individual basis. But it's like Brian said on his contact. There is a hubris in young people that think certain things, and you sort of need that. You need to be able to take. What's going on with the chat here now? But yeah, it's like you do need to take chances, and young people do take chances in many ways more than old people, or older people.
well,
Topic
I'm
for your
still
next
young,
video.
of course, Sean, so I'm happy to take chances.
Oh, book time with Al.
There are some, of course, but then again, that's probably just who you think is overrated, rather than the,
Well, I think anybody who has like 100,000 subscribers or a million subscribers, and they're calling themselves booktubers, I wonder about that. Like, I would think I would, my knee jerk reaction would be that they are overrated. That would be my knee jerk reaction. But as to Gerald,
at least Gerald didn't go for most detestable booktubers.
I was going to do another cartoonist video, but couldn't decide what to do.
Tintin.
The most underrated books. Oh, there are lots of those.
Well, I mean, you're looking at two right now, of course, right?
Snoopy the Wise. Exactly. I have 100 Peanuts collections. Yeah, the Peanuts are fabulous. I'd love to have the whole set that they went through, the dailies and then the Sundays and everything in these nice sort of elongated books.
Yeah, when did they first appear? Like 50s, 60s? Before that, 40s?
Not 40s, I think 50s. I think late 50s, I think. Rin Tintin. A little different, but yeah.
I just love these names, though. And then you got Ricky Tikki Tavi as well, haven't you? That's the name I always liked from Kipling. Why are you cancelled, Claire? What did you say? Oh, the accountants. Yeah, I don't think accountants, no disrespect, but I don't think they're a group that you need fear to be cancelled by, to be honest.
or a good salesman. I'm not sure what that's referring. Do you know? You might have to explain that, Claire, because I think I've lost the thread there.
We see that's it. Well, been trying, but we're just not rated highly enough yet.
Well, like there's a bit of that starting tomorrow, as I said to Gareth. And I'm not saying who, but 12 noon tomorrow. I will say clearly that the video and the audio isn't the best. But it was the only thing that we could do, and but it's a very interesting thing.
Yeah, it is really.
Oh, was it actually 1950? Okay, yeah, I knew it was 50. Yeah, 2nd of October 1950. Wow.
Charlie Brown is 72 years old. Wow, 71 years old, is he? So he's not young.
No. But I also like it, like in the I'm not sure if in the comic strips, but I don't think they ever had adults, and the voices of the adults in the cartoons were always yeah.
So it ran for 50 years.
You interview that would be fabulous. That would be fabulous. I don't know if we could pull that off. I don't think we could, but it would be nice.
JMS, am I missing something?
Joseph Michael Straczynski. J. Michael Straczynski, Babylon 5. I used to eat them for what?
Peanuts.
Oh, okay. It's like booktubers.
Salespeople. I used to eat them for breakfast. The other remark was about you. With enormous amount of followers.
Yeah.
But it's not everything. I have to say, the more I think about it, I mean, there are times I wish I had, a couple of thousand. It just makes you feel better, probably. But then I think you must lose something in terms of your community. I mean, we do have a really, I have such a lovely group of subscribers and commenters and people who I've, come to think of even as friends, and I talk to them, regularly. I think you can't maintain that if you go into the thousands. You just can't do it. So it's that trade-off, and I'm less bothered about reaching it now.
Well, I guess it depends. Like look at the comments. Like I've had on these 2 videos in the last week. There's a lot of comments, and I try to answer or make a comment on the comments. And just think though, if you had 1,000 comments every day to deal with, if you had like 50,000 subscribers, what are you doing? Oh, he's finally asleep. But yeah, like how could you you'd have to ignore people. You would have to ignore people, or you'd be spending your whole life answering comments. And it would be great to have, that kind of thing, because there is some sort of ego thing that to have people I think and also in that's a fear for me too, as well, as having people hanging on every word you say, and because then would you become too worried about offending somebody? Because when you have that many people, you're going to say something that somebody's not going to like.
For sure.
Oh, let's go back to the accountants. Yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe canned or stewed. Early peanut strips had off-panel adult voices sometimes. Oh, okay. Quentin. Yeah, book discussion changes when you open it up to thousands, I think, unless you're Steve Donahue, who has all the time in the world.
Well, yeah. I think that's a point. If you could do it as a job, then it would be more manageable. But of course, a lot of us are juggling, work with doing this, and this does take time. I realized that over the summer, that I'm just not I just won't be able to keep up with it, right? In the same way. So I'm going to be one of these who kind of like just drops back in, in June, July, August, pushing out videos that I've wanted to do all year, just haven't had the time. I think I can keep up maybe 3 times a week during the school year, probably. But I mean, I think that's the thing. Even when you don't, I mean, I don't do a huge amount of editing. I don't. But it does take time. It really does to do it. And
editing.
Well, yeah, okay.
But yeah,
I never edit what I say. I have to say, generally, I'm a one-take person, pretty much. That's fine. I just like to sometimes, add a picture of something I'm talking about, or some author or whatever. But
yeah, well, I don't do anything else, so I theoretically have the time to do this.
You are a full-time booktuber then, basically.
I suppose so, yeah. But the thing is, I can't even keep up at times because of my health or the heat and do stuff. But when I'm reading a lot of stuff, there's so much to say. That's why, like, I do like putting out the videos. I like the idea of putting out 3 videos a day spread over time. Like, I like the little shorts that I do, and I want to continue those with books or something in the morning, and then something at 12 noon, preferably something shorter, and then something later, like at 5 or 6 o'clock. And when I'm reading something, it's always easy to do because regardless of what I'm reading, even if I'm halfway through something, I can just turn on the video or the camera for a couple minutes and talk about what I'm reading. But these past few weeks, because of thing, I've been struggling to find out things that I want to say because there's too much effort into doing certain things in the heat to get books assorted. So hence the top 10s list. And I'm not finished with those yet.
Well, I mean, there is an element of getting a buzz from it as well, though, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, there is. Yeah,
it's like I find it very hard if I've made a video to sit on it. I've been better over that over the summer to schedule it and whatever. Usually, I just want to get it out there because it's that quick fix of when you get a nice comment or you get some likes. You do whether it really drives you or not. It does make you feel good.
Yeah.
When you've got that first comment on there and it's a nice comment. I'm very lucky. Generally, touch wood, I have such lovely people who leave really lovely and interesting comments that it really makes you feel good, and that in part does become a bit of a drug. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm getting this every day, and then I'll be kind of losing it. So there's times where I feel that I just want to get it out there because. And I think it's the interaction. I mean, both of us, don't go out a huge amount, right? I mean, I go out obviously to work and stuff like that, but I don't. My big interaction, and especially my world is a foreign world. Yeah, I mean, I'm surrounded by foreign language all day and everything. So my main kind of English interaction is through BookTube. And it's become really, it's become really quite addictive to get that kind of, I don't know. When you get the comments and things, it's like an acceptance. There's something about it that pushes you to do it more. And then when you don't have it, you start to feel like, yeah, maybe some withdrawals, Yeah. I don't know.
But it is a bit weird of what you're doing, because in the morning I've been doing those shorts with holding up a science fiction book and reading the back cover. I rarely get. I think Claire is the only one that has put comments on them. It's weird. Shorts don't get any comments. So if you can put out tons of stuff, and if you don't want to worry about comments, do shorts.
Well, because it takes longer to write the comment than the video lasted.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Elvis has left the discussion.
He really has.
The majority of booktubers are smallish. Bookish people are a minority now. Yeah, in the world, everywhere, I think. Yeah, the good ones, that is. 2 or 3 times is more than acceptable to your subscribers.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I don't like putting out like really.
I'm hoping Michael means 2 or 3 times a week that I said, rather than 2 or 3 times a day that you said. But I guess it could be ready the way.
And Amy says she only edits when I've said something wildly incorrect. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. I wish I could do that because I do, but I wind up having to just re-record it because if I realize I've said something, but sometimes it's a slip of the tongue or it's my COVID brain that a different word comes out or a date. Like the Louise Brooks one, it was just so bad. It's like I know she was born on November 14th, 19 anyway, November 14th. Like my brain is gone. But I said November 15th in the video.
Well, it's not the worst thing you can say.
Yeah. Quality is fine, not numbers. Your videos are always great.
Thank you, Claire. She's talking to me again.
Yeah. Smaller booktubers tend to be more chatty and personal. Yeah, because I think it's that reason. Because if you get up in the morning and you got 1,000 comments, I think people, after a while you'll go, oh. And I think that's a natural thing, unless and then you're either going to you either enjoy it, but I think after a while it can become a burden if you get thousands of comments, or it's your ching ching, money, and you just treat it that way, and then you're not chatty anymore. You're just, I don't know. It's a thing that it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. I don't have time to edit. I have too many books. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. But I don't have the skills to do it. So my engagement comes and goes depending on what's happening in my life. Yeah, because you do something called work. It's one of those 4-letter words that I just don't. I find offensive. And so do you, Mark. Just don't use offensive words around me, like work.
Sorry.
I do find it hard to sit on videos. Yeah, well, I'm becoming a little more okay with that. Like I can because if I know that I'm doing stuff like every day, it's kind of hard to if I'm not doing any videos and then post schedule it in the future. But it's like Wednesdays is the one thing, and I got a very small audience for this, but they seem to be a dedicated audience, is the hours in my library, picking out weird or quirky books, and spending 5 minutes talking about it. And I really like doing that.
That's the interesting thing, isn't it? That, you have these little segments that you really love, and you have a small audience who's very loyal to it, and yet, it is very small.
Yeah,
it's like I thought my short story Saturday, I thought it'd be a great thing. I thought people were going to love that. Who doesn't want to listen? Who doesn't want to kick back with a cup of tea on a Sunday morning after I put it out on the Saturday or whatever, listen to my dulcet tones or whatever, reading you a story? Who wouldn't want to do that? Well, apparently not many.
Yeah. Well, it's like my Saturday one that I started the end of the story. I really enjoyed doing those, but then once the heat sort of got in, and it was only meant to be sort of an occasional, so I can pick it up at any time. But yeah, you do sort of, I was disappointed at its. I have to admit that I was disappointed at its reaction, like the number.
You can't tell.
But I enjoy it.
Sorry, I'll let you crack on with this. But what I was just going to say quickly is things like the Beyond the Book thing I did. Yeah. I actually put in real work into that, right? I have to research something, so I actually do spend, an hour, stealing generally from Wikipedia, but in my own words, of course. But I am actually writing out the script and, of course, doing that. And it's funny because I thought, it's so great, and
well, that's the same as the end of the story. I spent the time, I write it out. It's not just off the cuff like 90% of my videos are. Quentin says here, I tend to appreciate the not edit videos that allow for the idiosyncratic, maybe, I hope, to come out. I hope it's idiosyncratic. It strikes me as endearing, and these are people who are fallible. Yeah. I enjoy Sean
Yeah.
sending me. Yeah, Michael, you I think are the one that's most susceptible to it, at least that I know of. Which I do have to apologize at times. That it's like, sorry. Oh, I didn't click on it.
I was gonna say, I was like, and I can't even see it now. The comments are like up the
yeah.
top.
And Gareth says I always watch those short Sean, but yeah, I don't comment. No, that's fine. It's just was weird because almost every other video that I do gets comments, and I don't know if that's common for shorts, but I just thought, oh,
I was just thinking of Sean wearing shorts when I read that comment at first, though.
BookTube's not ready for that.
You see, that's your clickbait. That's going to bring in the viewers.
Quentin again. Great booktubers have a really firm grasp on the conversation they want to start and can direct the conversation away from what they don't understand while saying valuable stuff. Not the case for all. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
there's some truth.
And that's fine. Yes, regarding Mark. I've lost the thread there.
2 or 3 times. 2 or 3 times a week, not 2 or 3 times a day.
Oh, okay. So my three a day are too many. Okay.
No, I think he's not saying
that. Trouble with those two, these two, is my bank manager hates.
It becomes so. Even for me as well. I was sitting there watching Amy actually on Saturday, and I'm thinking, this is going to be nice and sit, relax, and I like listening to Amy read a bit from something. It's going to be good. And then she starts talking about this book of letters between Barry and Stevenson. Suddenly like, hang on, what is this? I don't know about this. I do have like ebooks from the Delphi collection of Barry's letters and Stevenson's letters, but I didn't think someone had put them together so I can read I have to have it, and like it was then and there. I'm sitting here and I whipped out my, which isn't here at the moment, I suppose, my wallet, and I'm on the Amazon or wherever trying to order it, and it's like, oh. And then she starts talking about Simone de Beauvoir's book America Day by Day, or maybe it was the other way around. I can't remember, Amy, apologies. And I'm like, that sounds fascinating. She's reading from it, and I'm like, where can I get that? And then of course you're looking through these things, and I'm looking at Barry and Stevenson's letters, and it's like, perhaps you want this, and I thought, I do want that. So it's like, and this is the thing when people talk about not monetizing. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, or whatever, but I will say when people say, would you monetize if you have a certain number of subscribers? To some degree, I probably would, because I want to be able to afford more the book buying habit that I've got. Because, I think I'm a teacher in the former, what do you call it? Eastern Bloc, right? I mean, you think being a teacher in the UK or in America is bad. It's, luckily it is obviously cheaper to live here, but that's changing very quickly, so yeah, of course, it would be wonderful to have, whatever it is, extra $20-$30 a month to spend on books. Why not? That's the way I see it.
Yeah, and also everybody can go to my Amazon wish list and buy everything, so I can put new stuff up. I'm not opposed to that. What's Amy saying? For us smaller booktubers, I think our videos are the things we would say to our friends, family in real life if they. Yeah, and that's the problem.
There's a big difference, though. I mean, because obviously, it's nice that Amy's, in this group, but there's quite a big difference between you and I, Amy. I mean, I think Amy's close to 4,000, isn't she?
Yeah, but she's been on for a long time. She's been on YouTube for a long time.
But it's funny how we still, you can be on, 4,000 and think of yourself as small. But then, of course, you have those who are 8,000 or 13,000 are still small when you compare it to those who've got 30,
Yeah.
40, 50,
Yeah,
100,000. It's all, the scale it's so interesting.
Yeah, and also too, I didn't mean it in saying that it took. She's been on for a long time, and it made it sound like in retrospect that that it's like I didn't mean it.
She's been on it for 20 years.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean that. Gareth saying, I love MJ's idea of getting a live chat for small booktubers together as a feature.
Maybe we should do that next time, Sean. We should invite a guest with us on from someone who's got less subscribers than us.
Yeah, Gareth, do you want to come on and have a chat? You're right there. Oh, you're the one that suggested it. You're the one that's there. So
I don't know if he's less than me though. Is he? Maybe close.
I'm not sure. Yeah, we know when it's bad, and we don't expect perfection. Yeah, thank you. But I'm always perfect. That's our try to be.
Well, your name's nobody, right?
Short story Saturday. Yeah, so there you go. Amy, yeah, good. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Amy does the reading too, and I try it, but I've never been a good reader out loud, even before. But with the COVID, now long COVID, it's even worse. Like you don't know how many times I had to do a drop of gin. Like this bottle was full when I started. And yeah, so many times, and I still made mistakes.
I just want to say, sorry to skip ahead, but I just see MJ's walked in, so
okay,
her ears must have been burning.
Yeah, scheduling videos is a roller coaster. I've done 85 of the 100. Wow. And they're scheduled right up to December 20. Well, holy crap. Yeah, I got to do more of my shorts for that because I'm only up to the end of August. But the Desert Island Dicks.
It does exist, though. It's a great podcast. I recommend it to you all.
Desert Island book.
Desert Island Dicks is a good podcast.
Let's just pretend that was edited out. Desert Island Books, I think, is going to be close to, in a couple of weeks, going to be up into end of November, which is kind of cool. Gerald's does it have anything to do with timing? Do people watch? Yeah, there is, because on the what is it now? The on YouTube anyway, you can see where people are watching your videos the most, and you can see where that is. But it also, if somebody has a lot of subscribers, you can be lost in their feed. As a booktuber, you can be lost. Like I do miss people's. Like I missed I missed something from Amy at times, and I try to watch almost all of them come up, but I'm subscribing to more, and there's these people that put out 3 a day. It's hard to keep up.
It's great.
I love Beyond the Books. There you go, Mark. It is good. Yeah, Hours of My Life is what hooked me. Oh, really? I like the shirt. The short stories in Amy's readings too. Speaking of shirts, the saying that I'm just telling everybody here, the person who dies with the most books wins. You can buy a shirt with that on now.
You can indeed, yes.
Just email Mark and he'll tell you how. Only about 10 to 20% of my sub count actually probably. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, and you do see that with big ones too. Like somebody that has 50,000 subscribers. What is it now? I think it's BFI. I subscribe to BFI, British Film Institute, and they have a lot, but their videos only get like maybe 100 views.
But
they got so many.
You think about how you are though. I mean, you're probably subscribed to 500. you're probably subscribed to 500, 600 people or something like that, and you probably only watch 10 to 12 booktubers a week as a generous.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that's the thing, and that's why I was jokingly saying that the ones that put out 3 a day, you just can't keep up.
And you see, it's like that Heather, bless her, Heather the librarian. I don't know when I subscribed to her. She's, I guess, fairly new because her subscriber count is low. But I subscribed; she popped up in her feed, and it really was the title. H.P. Lovecraft is a weird little man caught my attention, and I had to watch it. And now, I've got a reading thing with her. So
yeah,
hi again, MJ.
You shouted out my channel a bit ago. Oh, you have it.
So that's okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure if I see. Yeah, it is true. It's like sometimes it's on a date. Like sometimes I will watch, like, I'll go through my feed and watch everybody's videos. And then there's some days that I'm doing something else and I don't quite get. And that's where you lose things. And that's where, like, there was one YouTuber that I subscribed to. I'm glad they changed, but they would flood with like 100 videos. It was old time radio stuff. But they would flood, and then so everything would just got pushed to oblivion. And I unsubscribed for a while because
Sky News did that for me when I think it was when the war started in Ukraine. I'm not just talking about the war stuff, but they flooded my thing with all sorts of news videos all the time that I just couldn't see anything else, so I had to unsubscribe.
No, that's Desert Island.
Desert Island Dicks. Well, come on, we got September coming up. But it really is a podcast that I do recommend to people to listen to. It's about choosing the worst of things to be stuck on an island with. It's quite funny. They've had some good people on there. Like I think Dom Jolly was on there and a few others. It's good fun. It's like, what's the worst animal that you could possibly be stuck on a desert island with? That kind of thing. The worst food.
Boris Johnson.
Well, yeah. You choose 3 people. 3 people who would be dicks.
Okay, where is it? I have a question. Somewhere said, do you guys have a book or page goal for this year?
This is something brought us back to reality and talking about books. Yeah, I have a book goal. I don't think, Sean, I don't know if you use Goodreads, do you? You don't, do you?
I'm on there, but I don't actually use it.
My goal is, I have to check now. 50. I didn't have much confidence in myself. 50 was my goal, but I'm at 52, so I've gone over, which is nice.
Yeah, I've given up counting, and I keep getting berated by a few people that I should account. And I thought it would be kind of neat to if I put all the books on a table that I read in the year, and that would be a neat picture to do. But it's like, it's not a competition. But last year I was sort of, because
Sean, you just said it is a competition.
Not for reading.
Oh, just owning books. Okay.
Yeah. The person who dies with the most books wins.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah, like last year, I felt I didn't read that many books at all, and then I sort of sat down and sort of looked at what I'd read, because I had most of them piled up, and I read about 150 books last year, and I felt I didn't hardly read anything because I was so ill, and it's like, wow, I was actually, I impressed myself by that for what little I read, or what I thought I read. Purge. Amy says she purges subscriptions every once in a while to keep them. Yeah, I do that occasionally, because I do find I subscribe to some people, and then at times I listen to their stuff, and I do that. Like it's like, I guess I'm trying to give a reason for it, but it's sometimes I find that I don't actually watch them anymore because they don't talk about books that I'm that interested in.
So if
And
I see a notification where it says Sean D. Stanfast has subscribed to your channel, then I was culled once and you've come back. I know. I'll be keeping an eye out for that.
well, no, sometimes I do. Like I'll go in my feed and I go, I haven't seen so and so for a long time, and then I go to the thing and it says I'm not subscribed. I never unsubscribed from it because I wouldn't. We MJ, we all have our steadies in the channels. We always, well, yeah, there's going to be there's going to be. You know, Mark is always at the bottom of the heap for me. You know, I'll just, you know, just when I get to it, if I can get to it. Gerald,
I'm not even subscribed to you, Sean. I just type you in every time
I have the opposite approach. I only subscribe to a few channels, but I watch almost everything they put out. Yeah, that's, you know, that's really a great. And then there's a few people out there that only subscribe to one booktuber, and that's all. You know, they just don't. They will not look at anybody else. They're so what's the word? Loyal to that booktuber. There you go.
well, I don't send that link though because it's for America.
Oh, but isn't it on the?
Yeah, it's on the Amazon UK side as well.
Well, so. you can send Claire the link. I get anxious when
they're the link later.
I feel about So yeah. Oh yeah, books. Oh, I guess getting back to books.
I guess it's quite nice that if we keep doing these lives, then we're making it easier for people who like watching us because now they can kill two birds with one stone. They don't have to like watch, you know, both our channels. They're just here we are.
Yeah. Oh, see you, Claire. The phone's ringing, so she's probably gone. Summer, what's the best book you've read this year? Ooh.
I did love Jamaica Inn, which I just finished a couple of days ago. But you see, you've chosen a terrible thing for me, Summer, because it's been a year so far of reading, for me, great books. You know, having to reread Treasure Island, The Lost World, King Solomon's Mines, discovering the wonders of Jamaica Inn. At the beginning of the year, I read Beau Geste by P.C. Wren. I thought that was fantastic. Charlie Chan books I've absolutely fallen in love with them. I've been extremely lucky this year. Actually, I've read loads. I can't answer that. I'm sorry. It's a cop out, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to one of my favorites that I reread again just on at the beginning of August was Clifford Simak City. I have to because it's a favorite of mine. I always love it, but I've read so many. And also another favorite was Gargantua Pantagruel by Francois Rabelais.
Well, what if you chose something you haven't read before?
I'm mostly rereading stuff. I'm trying to think of something.
The Westerns. June on the Range. You must have read something you hadn't read before. Because they surprised me. The whole June on the Range thing was.
Yes. True Grit. Yeah.
That was excellent. That's up there as well. That was a brilliant book.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely.
Tale of Genji.
So I guess that's his favorite book.
Good. You know, I've read it maybe twice, I think. I think actually, Quentin, I've got the same edition as you, the Penguin Classic Deluxe Classic one, but it's back in England. I think Noah's looked quite interesting. What was his? Norton? Was it maybe?
Yeah, there's a Norton edition. Yeah, because that would be a good one, I think.
I really enjoy. Also, you might want to check out the Heike, Quentin. It's a kind of well, what is it? Not a mythology, but a ballad epic Japanese poem. It's well worth trying out if you like Genji.
Yeah, Michael asked to either. Yeah, I sub vocalize most of the time. I sort of do a half in between at time. It depends on the book. Like if it's a general sort of snappy book or something like the A. Van Vogt, I can just whip through this very quickly. And then there's other ones that I want to read it slowly. So
This
yeah.
sub-vocalizing, this is when you read it
Say it.
aloud in your head.
Yeah,
I don't think I can read any other way. I I really read like this all the time.
But
And
there is a way. There is a way to do it. You scan your eyes across, and you are taking in everything. But it is something that is not easy to do, because if you had the words flashing up on the screen, you can read those words very quickly. Like how many hundreds or thousands of words a minute? 100,000, but 1,000 words a minute or something like that, because you're not saying the words, but you're recognizing what they are, and it can work.
I think I'm becoming a big proponent now of reading aloud. You know, when I read
that slows you down. Yeah.
Well, it slows you down, but when I read Pride and Prejudice, sorry to plug it again, but I read it aloud to my adoring fans, I felt I really got something extra from it. You know, I've said this before. I really felt that, you know, it was almost that kind of like listening, but I'm listening to myself and reading. So I guess it's a similar effect, but I was in control of the tempo. So it was a better effect, I think, than listening to the audiobook and reading the book at the same time, maybe, if that makes sense. But I felt it added another dimension, and I was pleased with it. And that's why I do a lot of read alouds now, because I'm doing it sometimes to myself, or I'm reading to Elvis, and because we live alone, it kind of fills the thing. So I thought, damn it, you know, I might as well just record it and make you guys listen to it as well. So
yeah, Michael, I get the same thing. Things do disappear in the feed. I don't know why. If you read out loud the book I'm supposed to be reading at the moment, that's Killing Two Birds with One Stone. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Finally caught it. Mark, I'm almost done with Jamaica Inn, and it's great. I'm looking forward to watching your favorite author's video. Sean, you need to. Yeah, I'm making a list of ones.
checking the price.
Yeah. It's kind of hard, because I what I'm trying to do is there are probably authors that I've gone back to many times, and that's where I think I'm going to do it, and rereading their books more than once. I think that's how I'm going to do it. Oh, Alan's here.
Hey, Alan. Howdy.
What's that? I don't get the reference. Do you?
Probably checking out. He's got General Hospital playing in the background while he's watching us. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, the Norton version. Yeah. Yeah, that is good. It is a good long poem. I do a mix of both depending on what I'm in the mood, like reading. I think she's reading out loud. I'd love to do more, because I did the essays for quite a while, and you and I, Amy, did several back-to-back chapters of A. Edward Norton, I think it is. Yeah. But I always found that I stumble over too much words for some reason, and it's worse now for some reason. You know, it's as if my tongue is not connected to my brain. You know, and well, that's the way it is. Worse now.
I get that as well.
But yeah, but it is fun because.
Alan.
But yeah, it's fun. God, we've been on for 2.5 hours, more than 2.5 hours, and there's more people on here now than there was earlier.
Hey, Alan, I mentioned what you call it? H.P. Lovecraft. I mentioned Heather and that earlier. So you've been watching General Hospital for 40 plus years. Okay. I remember, what was it, As the World Turns? When I was a kid in Bermuda, my mum used to watch that one.
The only thing is, like, when I had it was a soap opera,
Dallas,
Dark Shadows.
I don't know it.
And it's a horror. It's got vampires in and everything too. Okay. And there's about 12 or 1,300 episodes. and I've watched on Prime because I think it's still free if you get Prime, and I think I got up to like 450. Is that HP sauce?
Lovecraft. It's not his
Yeah,
real name, is it? No, it's not his real name.
I can't remember now.
It can't be. It's such an odd name. Howard Phillips Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was born Howard Phillips Lovecraft, so it was his name. See, I thought it was
Yeah,
going to be a name.
yeah, Erebus or yeah, Collins. Yeah, no, it's a fun thing, but yeah, no, yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it is his real name, but yeah, and others use pseudonyms. Like every time when I was doing stuff on social media, and people say, "Well, what's your real name?" Sean Standfast. No, but your real name, Standfast. Yes, first name is Sean. I guess people just didn't believe that Standfast was a real name.
That's true. Well, they don't. They're not obviously John Buchan fans, but we are reading Shabon soon. I'm looking forward to that. Have you read any of Michael Chabon? Too new
No,
for you. This one's called the
yeah,
Yiddish, Yiddish,
Barnabas. Yeah,
Yiddish Policemen's Union, and it looks really interesting. It's all
yeah,
the idea about. Sorry.
it does because Alan and I were talking about it.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, I'm really looking for, and it fits in, I think, with Dictember, so I'm happy with that. So,
Oh, okay, that works. Yeah,
well, kind of, not for
yeah.
you, it wouldn't. It's far too modern, but
Well, we might as well plug that as well. So you know, we're going on. We've got now 16 people here. You know, so that's um, yeah. So we're I guess if nobody knows, we're doing Dictember, and there's four. Well, there's five, I think, going to be hosts. Uh, or co-hosts, and dealing with private, not no no sorry, detective fiction, not just private detectives, you know, professional ones as well. Uh, if Steve's ever watching, it's not just private ones; it's open up to all detectives.
yeah, I think it's gonna be great fun. I love detective novels, so it's going to be good, and I look forward to exploring some new ones. I mean, we're doing a group read of The Big Sleep, aren't we, with by Raymond Chandler. We'll probably have a group for that, which will be fun. And then, I'll be up for, if anyone wants, well, I'm reading, as I say, Michael Chabon with Greg and other bibliophile reads, and of course, Alan, Big Hard Books and Classics. And, I'm going to put out my Dick TBR maybe sometime this week, and I think it will be I'm open for reading anything that, if you want to read whatever I mentioned in there with me, of course I'll be absolutely over the moon. So.
Yeah, I've got to think about my TBR. Good question there. Yeah, because
we're focused. Oh, sorry.
Well, you got it. You just used the perfect word there to start it with. So
well, that's it. I think the focus for this event, as Steve said, it's a complement to, for example, March Mystery Madness, rather than a competition, because we are focusing on the detectives themselves. So the books that focus primarily on the crime solver rather than necessarily the crime. So,
yeah.
what do you mean generally? Maybe he means generally. I didn't know. I took it the wrong way, maybe. Yes, it was very good. It was excellent, Alan. Really enjoyed that.
No, yeah, I think sometimes you do have to take a break of things. I'm so behind this month. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to catch up on everything. Like even the this week is sort of shot. I shouldn't even be doing this. I got other things that I should be doing, while reading is one of them. But I'm sort of procrastinating for some things. But yeah, so this week and August has been a write-off almost for me for reading, mostly the heat. Look forward to hearing TBRs because it's another genre I'm very familiar. Yeah, well, like generally, well, for me, I'm going to be choosing stuff that's pre World War II, and mostly Steve and Michael K. Vaughan, I think, are going to be concentrating mostly on post and maybe very recent releases as well. And you'll do a mix, I guess.
I'll just go with whatever. Yeah, I'm easy. I mean, I love the 1920s and before, 30s, 20s, and before, but I'm also, happy to explore new things. I love the ones I really love, and I mentioned them in my, sorry to plug myself again, in the video I did today, the 10 authors, like 2 of them, 3 of them, maybe,
Sound is going all crazy.
are what do you call it? Historical crime fiction writers. So the sound's gone crazy, has it?
Yeah, there's something happening to the stream.
Well,
are you back?
Maybe your thing's really hot.
No, I think it's okay now. Oh, it is quite warm. Yeah. I've got books that I bought a year ago that I still need to read that don't fit events, and they're fairly big too. Yeah, like big books I had planned this year, and I read quite a few, but things got started derailed as they do. Oh, okay, yeah, it sounded like Mark was really going squawky sounding, and freezing. So you know how that.
It's just how I sound after 10 p.m. So, I mean, it's terrible, isn't it? We haven't got lives if we can sit here for 3 hours almost talking away. So.
Yeah, and we're continually gaining viewers. We're continually gaining viewers. Okay,
maybe
so
we should do a charity 24-hour-a-thon.
Well, there was somebody that I saw that was doing a live on my feed, and I jumped in for a little while, and then when I went back the next day, the live feed was almost 7 hours long. It's like, wow. Winger, well, yeah. I didn't want to talk about this. It's hopefully it's coming up in a week. I'm delaying it, hopefully. So, so Mark, does that mean that the Matthew Shardlake novels are detective fiction? Only read the first one.
You see, this is where it's difficult because I mean, he's set in Tudor times, but I guess it's like Cadfael in the sense that Cadfael was kind of before detectives were around. I mean, Matthew Shardlake's a lawyer, but he kind of solves crimes, and to me, he falls into a kind of amateur detective, I suppose. Because he's like him and his assistant. What's his name? Jack Barak. Yeah, I mean, people might argue with me, but I think it's just detected by any other name, really. How he gets involved with things, and they are fantastic. I know people love to go on about when they're talking Tudors, love to go on about Hilary Mantel, which, to be fair, I haven't read yet. I've read probably the first 2 chapters of Bringing Out the Bodies, but it was, then I had to stop. Not Bringing Out the Bodies, Wolf Hall, the first one. And then I had to stop because I had other things to do, but I will go back to it. But the sheer level of detail and, description and research that C.J. Sansom has done into the Shardlake books, they're just magical. I love them. I just got hooked on them. And I've only read, I think I've said it already, I read there's 7 books at the moment, and I've only read 6 because I refused to read the last one because I thought it's the last ever one. I've been keeping it as a treat. But I did hear there should be a new one. I would recommend it, Gerald. They're great. They do get progressively longer. Like the last one is really, really long, but it's just more to enjoy as far as I'm concerned.
I've seen this bandied about. Somebody explain this to me.
It's the thing. What do you want me to explain it, or we wait with someone?
Yeah, I don't know what reading sprint is.
It's where they do. You've seen them. They sit there and they do either writing or reading for 30 minutes in silence on their channel, and then live, because you can join in with them at home or whatever. You sit there, and then they'll break and then have a chat for like 20 minutes, and then the timer goes back on again, and they have another 30 minutes where they concentrate. Sometimes they clean the house or whatever, while they're doing it. Yeah, it's.
Well, that's where I can clean my house in my shorts or something like that. Then
That's it. But maybe you could sign up for OnlyFans for something like that, Sean.
Bibliophilia.
Well,
Yeah.
I was laughing with my parents because I was talking to them before I came on here. I was like, I better go. I've got my live show coming on soon. And my sister's like, sounds like I'm off for an OnlyFans gig or something. Not quite.
I just find that weird to sit there in dead air for 30 minutes and read.
You can mute your microphone and turn on your music and stuff. And, some of them sit there with their earphones in, listening to things, maybe reading the book. And then, because it's healthy, isn't it? It's healthy. You do intensive work and then you break and then you go back and you do your work and break. So it's supposed to increase productivity, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I sort of agree with Amy here. I don't understand why I need to.
I don't do it, but I understand why some people do it.
Yeah, I didn't know really what it was.
I'd like to do that, Sean.
Fun would be live streaming you organizing your bookshelves. No, it wouldn't.
24/7.
Yeah, I would just have a webcam up in the corner of my room, like they used to. Well, that's the thing. In the internet pre-YouTube, that's what you'd have. You'd have people that would do that kind of thing. MJ saying it's focused reading. Try it, and you might like it. I suppose so. I guess it's worth. I don't know. I just find the dead silence odd because it's like dead air. I want to fill it up with something.
I've noticed.
I've never understood reading sprints. It's too distracting. Must be extroverts. Motivation. Okay.
I think I can understand the idea behind it. It's just not my cup of tea. I need the noise and distraction. I can't concentrate.
I discovered it when Juan from Plagued with Vision did it, and it was interesting. Yeah, I know he did something like that. Yeah, it's just see the problem. See, that's the thing with lives. This is another thing to say. We're all in different time zones, and we've done the 6. I started 6:30 here. We started this live my time. It was 7:30 for Mark, but that's in Eastern United States, on the East Coast, and for Amy that was 12:30 in the afternoon. But then for Alan, you add 3 hours before that, so 11:30 to 9:30. Like it's not even new. Well, it's probably approaching noon for Alan now, and that's a bit of thing for live. And then when somebody, like if Alan does a live at say 8:00 at night, we're raising the roof with snores here, because it's 8 hours later. And that's really weird, and that's sometimes very difficult to do the lives and to do them at the right times. We go on a 45-minute sprint. Sean, looks like up to 2 and 2.5 minutes later. What do you mean?
You're supposed to be concentrating for 45 minutes doing your work, and then when like the timer ends, you can look back up again and join some conversation. So it's you're just there for like 2 minutes, and then suddenly you're looking up. Basically, you've got poor concentration span.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, Amy. Yeah, I was wrong. I did 6 hours, so it would have been 1:30 when we started. I think for you. Is that right? Yeah, 1:30.
4:30.
How many desert island? Well, they're not all. Scheduled. I'm up to like I think 20 now. I think in total. So basically, in a couple weeks, I'll probably have up until the end of November. Yeah. Bye, Summer. Thanks for dropping in. So yeah, so I'm probably going to be up to around the end of November, I think. And then it becomes a little like it's like I might have a bit of a quandary because I've never done anything like this. Do I continually do stuff over the next week and a month, but then I'll be starting to get into the new year? Do people want to wait that long for theirs to show up?
You might run out of dicks.
Yeah.
Like Castaways.
But yeah, so that's the thing, and that's what I'm sort of worrying about a little bit. But I'm going to expand too. It's not going to be all booktubers. I'm going to be having some people that are non-booktubers that are on Instagram that do books, or people that do something else, but they're also into books as well.
Only fans.
To mix things up.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah. Sorry. See you, MJ. Bye.
Bye, MJ. Yeah, that's yeah. I call it season 1, and then announce season 2 when you want to do it again. Yeah, but that's the thing. People might forget. I guess I'm in a quandary because will they want to do it again, like to start it over again? People are now wanting to do it because it's gaining a little bit of momentum. Because there's some people that like it and like the idea of it, but then if I leave it for too long, it might. I don't know. It's a bit of a quandary. Or do I start posting them twice a week? I could do that, I suppose.
I think I might have to go too soon.
Yeah.
Go soon too.
Well, we're coming up to 3 hours, so.
I thought it was like 5 minutes ago. We said we were just coming up to 2 hours and last.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, I asked a few questions. Now we are dropping a little bit, but when we started there for a while, going up in numbers of people, and it's like, we
Alan.
Point our fans.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's only, judging from this now, it's probably just Gareth and Amy left. So.
Well, it says 10. There's 10. Yeah. There's 10. So there's a lot of lurkers. A lot of lurkers. But I do know that there's several people that watch my channel that don't actually have YouTube accounts, so they can't post things, and they email me. I have several.
Well, I mean, basically, Gareth, you've been with us from the beginning almost.
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah,
for 3 hours as well. So you're coming on with us next time. That's awesome.
Did he say that?
I don't know. You said.
Well, I was hoping he would. Oh, Michael's still here. Oh, Michael. That this is probably going. It might be interesting to some other people, but the Edmund Goss book that you mentioned, I think you got maybe the last one. That was at that price, I think, on Amazon, because Amazon's weird, as you know. They'll discount books cheaply and then they'll jump up in price once you sell one. So I think that was it. 13. I see coming. Oh, is there 13? Oh, now 11. We got. Well, okay. Gareth has left, so we gained 2 more. Get your pillow. Get your pillow, Mark.
I didn't even get my nap this afternoon, of course, because of our secret meeting.
Yeah. So again, I want to say keep an eye out for 12 noon tomorrow, my time, UK time, Greenwich Mean Time, whatever that is everywhere else in the world.
British summertime.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It would be 1 hour back Greenwich Mean Time. So I guess Gerald's talking about me again. So
I could see you're disappearing outside of the frame here because your head is disappearing outside the sides.
I was talking about you. I don't know. So. That's what I always last night.
Hey, on this, what?
He was telling Roz about the desert island videos.
Yeah, see, it was you.
Not necessarily.
You may ask. Well, for our audio escapades, there is a special guest that we've got. The video and the sound isn't the best, but if you're interested in audio dramatization comedy, it's well worth watching. Even so, the sound disappears a little bit, and there's lags between us talking, but we thought it was still worth posting because it was so good, and we'll definitely upgrade this at some point with another chat.
3 hours.
Secret. 3 hours. So yeah. So I think we'll say bye.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll be saying good morning.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'd be happy to stay. You know, Elvis has taken himself off to bed. But
well, now I'll say, well, if you leave, everybody else will leave. See, they're already starting to leave.
I do feel like
I'll stay. I'll stay on all night.
You could stay, Sean. You could. But I feel droopy now.
I don't think people wanted to hear me, babble on. So.
Well, they were worried you were going to start organizing your books and your shorts and. Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Now increased by 3. We're increased by 3 viewers again.
No, we're never going to get out of here.
Okay, well, this will be the last thing. Is there anything else that people want? And then we'll give another maybe 10 minutes, I guess, and that's it. Because it's a marathon. Making a pot of coffee. Yeah. So Alan's gone. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah. No, because there's. I think it's time to. I've got to get back to reading Doc Savage.
I've got to do some reading tonight before midnight. I wanted to read some, what's it called? King Solomon's Mines. So.
Well, it's only 9:35 here.
It's 10:35.
Yeah. But you go to bed at sundown, basically.
True.
Anyway, thanks everybody for dropping by, and check out tomorrow. And again, we didn't give Mitch much notice for this, but maybe we'll. It seems to be fun to do, so maybe once a week, or maybe we'll see. But you're going back to work, so may not be able to do it.
I like the kind of, hey, do you want to do a live? Yeah, let's do it. Because maybe it sucks if you haven't got all the notice, but I have to say every time we've done it without notice, we've actually had really nice discussion with people. So I say keep it. What's the word? See, keep
last
it
minute.
Spontaneous. Surprise people.
Well, thanks for dropping by, Amy, and enjoy your veggie soup.
Enjoy.
And thanks, Michael. And thanks, Gerald. And
bye, Gerald. Good night.
It's good night from me, and it's good night from him. See you later, everybody.
Bye.